6:01 p.m., December 11th, 2025. It is our regular council meeting. Lori, can I get roll call?
Mayor Young?
Here.
Vice Mayor Sartori?
Here.
Councilmember Brandon?
Here.
Councilmember Painter?
Here.
Councilmember French?
Here.
Thank you. And tonight's invocation and pledge of allegiance will be led by Councilmember Painter.
Thank you, Molly. If you could all bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father, we gather here tonight with gratitude for the blessings of community and the privilege of serving the village of Tequesta. We ask for your guidance and wisdom tonight as we make decisions that impact the health and safety of our residents. Lord, we lift up our first responders and military personnel, those who stand ready to protect and serve, often at great personal risk and sacrifice. Grant them strength, courage, and protection in every moment of duty, and may they feel the deep respect and appreciation of this community. As we enter this exciting holiday season, we pray for peace, joy, and goodwill among neighbors, and help us foster unity and compassion, even in times of challenge and disagreement. May our discussions and actions tonight be fruitful and reflect fairness and care for all. Bless this meeting with clarity of thought, harmony in discussion, and a shared commitment to the common good of our village. We ask this in your name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. All right, on to our presentations. First up is what most of the people in the room here are ready for, is the chili cook-off check presentation. With that, I'll call up Chief McLaughlin.
Good evening, everybody. I'm not going to be the main speaker for this. It's going to be Captain McGovern, but I will introduce him. This is my first chili cook-off, and I was absolutely blown away by how everybody came together to honor these individuals that we get to give a nice check to. And it was a moving experience. I had a great day. It seemed like everybody had a great day, and I can't wait to be involved for next year. So without further ado, Captain McGovern.
Good evening, guys. Mayor, council, manager, clerk. Appreciate you just giving us again a few moments of your time tonight to be able to stand up here and to do this. This is 14 years. It's been absolutely amazing. Can't believe we've survived this long without at least the board not killing each other. So, but we got here. So tonight we're super proud. We're here to donate checks to 5 amazing charities: Operation 300. Warriors Renewal Coalition, Southeast Florida Honor Flight, Wounded Veterans Relief Fund, and Tequesta Friends of Public Safety. And it's just one of the highlights of the year for us as firefighters and all the volunteers and everything that come and get a chance to do this. And before I move on real quickly, I think every year we stand up here and we talk a little bit about the charities and everything else. One of the charities that's on here that we don't say too much about is Tequesta Friends of Public Safety. It's one of our own charities as well. It's part of this that receives one of the checks here tonight. They look after police and fire and their families, and if there's any ever need, medical bills or anything like that we can help and we can also assist. But one of the things I want to talk and just let people know about also is they do so much more for this community also. And one of the things I just going to mention is the American Legion, as we all know, is an older building in this community. But it is the heart of this community. It's been here for a long, long time. They've been with me. I'm here 21 years in this department, and I've seen what they do for the community and everything they give back, and it's absolutely amazing what those veterans do. And we appreciate it, and we're glad that we can help them. Tequesta Friends of Public Safety know that their building is falling down around them, and we're doing lots of things in the background to one day tear that place down and build them a brand new state-of-the-art. But I'm so proud of just what Tequesta Friends of Public Safety have done, including all the firefighters, and through running it through one of our own firefighters construction companies is recently, obviously, their roof is about to fall in. They've had a brand new roof donated to them, which is absolutely amazing in the value. I can't even know what the value is. But they also have a ramp that goes up to that building where they host all of their events and things like that. They've had a lot of damage done to it, and somebody actually fell through it recently. And the firefighters went out to have a look at it, and we said, we're going to pay for this and we're going to rebuild it for you. That was the Tequesta Friends of Public Safety. We are donating the money for them to rebuild that ramp, and the firefighters, through one of our own companies, we've already just received our permits today. We'll be out there in the next few days or next week or so rebuilding that ramp so they can reopen the hall upstairs and be able to bring in revenue to keep them going and everything else. And that's just the beginning. So I just wanted to mention that because I think it's very important that we know that these charities that receive these checks here tonight, where the money goes. And we all know that these other 4 charities do absolutely amazing work. And I think Tequesta Friends of Public Safety also does amazing work, but we don't know as much about them as we probably should. So I just wanted to let everybody know and just say that I talked to the American Legion tonight. They're super appreciative, and any volunteers that want to come out and help us tear the thing down and rebuild it, you're more than welcome. So just let me know after the meeting. Like I said, this was our 14th year, and we couldn't be more proud. And this year, you know, it really took a community to put this thing on. And the event just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and every year we keep learning. But we have an amazing board and just amazing volunteers to make this run smoothly every year. And we ran into several challenges this year, as everybody knows. And as you grow, you run into challenges. And we're not event planners, we're firefighters. We're all just people that have other jobs that are just here to put on an event. And we learn a lot as we do these things. We had to make a lot of adjustments for security. As you know, we had parking issues and everything else as well. We extended our event, it got bigger, so we had to order more of everything. We had to order more product, everything else. We had to add entrances because of the overflow last year. It was so busy. We were like, oh my God, we need to put another entrance. When you add another entrance, you need to buy more electronics, and also you need more volunteers. And you know, the reason I'm telling you this is because the event does keep getting bigger and it keeps getting better. And we make all these adjustments so that everybody that attends it every year keeps wanting to come back and be part of it and support all these amazing men and women that we're going to donate some money to here tonight. And all of this is possible, like I said, because of a board of people and all our volunteers. That board starts in January to make this happen in November every single year. So if anyone from the board is here, if you could just put your hand in the air so we can recognize you. Or key members, like I said, that run like an entrance or will run the VIP tent or anything like that. If you can just put your hand up so we can just give you a round of applause, because I know how much work goes into it. This year it took 145 volunteers to put on this event. That's a lot of people. That's way out of my span of control, and that's where all of these people come in to help make this work. So it's been absolutely amazing. But again, like I said, one of the things I'm most proud of this event for 14 years is not one single penny goes to anybody but these charities. 100% of our proceeds of the profits go to these charities. Nobody gets paid. Everybody donates their own time, whether it's from January to November or whether it's on the day or leading up to it. Every single person is there because they want to help or say thank you to our veterans. And that's huge. That means a lot. There is some people that I have to thank because, again, this does take a village to put on this event. Phil Perko for donating the land to us to be able to host the event. Betsy Manelli and John Islip for, again, they also own property around there. Their cooperation help us put this on every single year. Justin Angel for donating the old CMEX locations this year on Old Dixie Lifesaver. We parked over 350 cars in those locations this year. And that was, I don't know where they would have went otherwise, but we don't ask usually, so we just let it go. We had to bring in, we had our own Tequesta PD. They do absolutely amazing to keep us all safe on the day. And again, we brought in the Florida State Guard, Chief of Staff Senya Lisenby, and Command Sergeant Major Michael Pink Takura. I don't know if any of you guys were at the event or not, but you would have seen them in their green, in their uniforms and stuff like that. It was phenomenal. The amount of people that came up to me during the event and said, I've never felt safer in an event because of their presence, and they were awesome. They weren't there to intimidate people. They made people feel like that they were there for their protection. They also looked after the streets out by the parking and everything else and helped out, making sure everybody who had a few drinks didn't get hit by a car walking back to their cars at night time or anything. They designate drivers, I'm saying. They're just again, always Doug Chambers and Public Works, 2 days, 3 days before that event even starts. They're prepping, cutting the grass, cutting down trees. It's amazing. They made the park look absolutely amazing on the day. And Keith Robinson, I don't have to say much, he's a superstar. He just works, great guy. JMC this year sent us over 40 volunteers. It was phenomenal. Every one of them said to me at the end of the event, they're not volunteering next year, they're coming to enjoy it, so we'll have to look for someone else next year. But they were brilliant. They all came, showed up, and did a great job. All of our sponsors, all of our teams, the Carl O'Connell Foundation, Marlon Griffin from Premier Realty, and of course, last but not least, DSS, who have been with us from day one. Their continued support is what helps us be able to put this on. Actually, last is Fran and Andrew Levitch and TBC. They're the ones that have started this event with us and still here with us today, 14 years later. And both of us were just talking the other day about what this has grown into has absolutely been beyond our dreams or beyond anybody's expectations ever. Our goal is to hit that $1 million. We didn't do it this year, guys, just so you know. So we got to come back one more year at least anyway. So, but we will be back next year. We're super excited. The event will be on November 14th next year. And we're already planning and already working on that because it is attainable next year for us to hit our goal with the changes and the things we learned this year. So on behalf of everybody that was involved in the event, everybody that volunteered, all our sponsors, all our teams, everyone that worked that day, we were super proud to be able to say that this year we raised $82,500 in profit after everything was said and done, which means tonight we'll be donating to the 5 charities. Each charity will receive a check for $16,500. So Cindy, who's with me all year, I know it's a mission of mine and yours as well as everyone else on that board and everything else. This brings our grand total over 14 years to $844,143,000 donated to these charities. So put the number in your little diary right now. 156,000 next year is our target, and we're gonna hit that because we're breaking that $1 million next year. Because I want to stand up here, and then I'll need the hankies to cry then, all right? And we'll break that $1 million. But other than that, I just want to say thank you so much to all of you. We are so proud to be able to support all your charities. You guys do amazing work. Thank you again. Have a great night. Merry Christmas and God bless. I don't know if anyone wants to say it, or we're just going to take a peek. Oh, you do?
Christine Brady, I'm the chairman of the Southeast Florida Honor Flight. Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Tequesta City Council, or Village of Tequesta Council, thank you so much for having us here every year. I wanted to thank you for allowing this to happen every year, the Tequesta Chili Cook-Off. We take our funds and we fly World War II, Korean, and Vietnam veterans up to DC for the day. And we actually have a World War II veteran with us here today, Mr. Bender. Other veterans. So we just wanted to thank you. So on behalf of Southeast Florida Honor Flight, thank you so much, and a big, giant thank you, David. We are so grateful for all you do for us and including us every year. Thank you.
So, as we know, 14 years, we know what happens next. We'll snap a quick picture in front of up here, and then we're going to go outside, give you the real check, snap another quick picture, and then we can all exit and let these guys get their meeting done so they can get done with all their other business that has to be handled tonight. Is that all right if we just take
Absolutely.
Okay. Or most likely. We'll have to get a smaller check next year. I wasn't waiting. We're all getting up. Okay. All right. Southeast on our flight. So we'll just come around. Just anyway, it's all 5 to get everybody together. All right.
Was it just a big check?
What's that next?
I met you last year.
I think, yeah.
How are you? That's okay.
Operation. And then your arms.
Peter? Can you set up?
Got a .5, but I can get them.
All good, Lori? All right, guys, thank you so much for that.
Thank you all. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next year.
Thank you, man. Ladies first. I'll give her that one. There you go.
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, it was nice of you to
Oh,
be
that smells good. That might not be there on the meeting.
Appreciate all of you so
Banana plants.
Thank you, Carol.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take 2, please.
Hey, Doug.
Will you see Keith?
Talk about this gator can, man.
If it makes it back.
Share it with us.
Thank you, Pastor.
I thought the lawyer just was cool.
I believe they weren't all here for me. Then that.
Makes it back. Pretty good. Not here.
Something now. Mention that works. This is also.
Oh, yeah, right.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so we are.
That's a hard act to follow.
I was gonna say, we're on to agenda item 2, presentation of the village's financial results for our previous fiscal year, and you have the great challenge of following that wonderful presentation.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that very much. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, it's a pleasure to be here and it's an honor. I'm going to try to run through this fairly quickly. If you have any questions, please jump in. This is pursuant to our Article 3, Section 303 of the Charter. It says by December we need to give you an update on the financials. The manager and I have worked on this, and this is what you get. We have all these funds. We have general funds, governmental funds, we have enterprise funds. We have a new fund, which is our vehicle replacement fund, and that's an internal service fund. General funds are primary operating fund, as you all know. It's the things that are funded by mainly property taxes, franchise fees, those taxes. And these are all the items that we do here are all what private business doesn't want to do, can't afford to do, because it's not very, it's not income producing. Here's our revenues. I feel good when I can get around between plus or minus 5% of the estimates that we do. This one came mighty close to me, feeling kind of badly. But 4.86, we have $175,000 in a positive variance in our property taxes, and that is basically where people are paying later than taking the 4% discount, because we factor the 4% discount in. If they pay later, that shows up. Other taxes, small increase. We have franchise fees, which was down a little bit. Our grants broke about even because we got the $67,000 from Fiscal. Other than that, we would have been under. Intergovernmental was down. That's the electric fees. Charges for services were up. The change to hiring a collection billing company for our EMS has proved real good and really lucrative for us. And also, we've been having quite a lot of interest in the community center. So Greg is doing a good job of getting more fees there. Rents and royalties up a little bit. Miscellaneous, we have some sales of things and that sort of thing. It's good. And interest is probably going to be down next year as things are looking sad to me, but it's a good thing for the economy. Here's our expenditures. We ended that positive by $867,000, or 4.3% of our budgeted money, which is pretty close. It shows that your staff really tries to keep the costs under control. We're not coming back a lot for extra money, other than things that we've talked to you quite a lot about. So that's good. See, the clerk had savings from no election expenses, so that's why the clerk had that shortfall, or the savings there. Comprehensive planning performed more work than they had planned. They're up a little bit. Legal was just less legal needs. Public work was down. Building maintenance was down 56,000. So those are some of the reasons for why those are changing. Went down. Our fund balance is ending fund balance estimated is 10 million, excuse me. And remember, these are all estimates because we're not done closing out the year and we've not been audited. And here it is again. We have 5.1 million is our emergency reserves, the 25% set aside so that we can react to a hurricane or some natural disaster. Hurricanes mostly what we're talking about. And the amount that's available for appropriations is 2.9 million. Building permits had a good year this year. They made $1.4 million, or got revenues of 1.4 and expenditures of 1.1. They ended positive. Building fund reserves are at 1 million right now, and they have quite a tail on their work, so they get it up front and they have a long tail, so that's doing well. We have these three governmental funds: capital improvement, capital projects, special law enforcement. The surtax fund, we have 1.7 million estimated in reserves. Those are going to be used up by the Tequesta Bridge project this year. And we have a public safety generator for half a million dollars next year, and the police upgrade to the radios, 300,000. So that'll be pretty well exhausted by next year, or by not this current year, but the following year. Capital projects, this is basically money from the general fund. We're still working on the projects. There's 475,000 there. Special Law Enforcement Trust, Mr. Officer Loney has been doing a good job. So that's that money, and we've been using that for enforcement items. Water fund, recycle, and stormwater. Total expenditures to revenues, you see the expenditures are down. This is a graph, but it's not a great graph because when we do capital projects, they don't show up as expenses, they show up as assets. So you change cash to an asset, so it doesn't really show the impact, but this is kind of a cash basis look. Here's how the departments went in utilities. 1.5 million underspent, so that some of the projects that are online now didn't get accomplished then. Unrestricted fund balance, $14 million as of 9/30/2025. 25% reserve is $2.2 million for them. Projects underway are the County Line Road for $1.3 million, Tequesta Drive, water main replacements, $3 million, and the filter upgrades, $900,000, and the water treatment plant upgrades will be $7.3 million. So there's quite a lot in the hopper there for our new utility director to get accomplished. Refuse and recycling, we ended the year better than anticipated because the interest rates stayed up higher for longer. And there's 29,000 there, and that should start working itself out. Stormwater is another one fund that when they do capital, it shows up not as an expense, but as another asset, and then it's depreciated. That's how you use up the depreciation. But they've done pretty well. They've got some fund balance. Expense analysis, and that's where you see drainage maintenance expenses are up there a little bit this year, but on the years they're not. That's when they're doing capital and not maintenance. And fund balance, we're looking at 288,000. We're hoping to save up some more to be able to cash fund some of the bigger programs or projects. Internal Service Fund, this is new last year. It has 1.2 million in it. The major parts of this are we're saving up for a rescue this year. That's $500,000. We got engines and we got vehicles. So it's from all the funds are putting in to have this. So that's a good balance to have and a good issue. Purchases that were rolled over into 2025. We have the Village Hall Annex, which is what we talked about before. That's there. And there's stuff to fill it up. We also have Remembrance Park retainage, tennis and pickleball court resurfacing, which was grant. F-250 pickup truck, Dover ditch, they're still working on that. And then for water utility, I was informed by our new utility director that water mains 17, 18, and 19, 88,000 there. Water well replacement 19, and then a few other small projects. Reduce the total amount by $238,000. So that we rolled in for them. So that's my report. Questions?
Thank you, Jeff. Council, any questions or comments for Jeff?
No, thank you, Jeff.
Just have one. Jeff, good job. Thank you. Is there any areas of concern that you believe as a council we need to be looking into for next year? I mean, we're already in the fiscal year, but anywhere that you think is a concern where we may have to find some solutions or start thinking about that?
Well, there's a lot of noise coming out of the state about property taxes, and if that happens, that's going to make us to be a little more nimble on our feet to figure out ways around that. But we're positioned pretty well right now to at least navigate through most of it.
Thank you.
I agree with what Jason said. There's a lot of bad actors out there. Tequesta is definitely not one of them. But we collect $12.8 million in property taxes, and we lose a portion of that. I just look at it, and public safety all of public safety may be exempt, but roads, sidewalks, public works, something like that's going to go. You didn't, right near the end, you mentioned the tennis and pickleball court resurfacing. That's a grant, so that's not. Did I hear you say it was a grant?
That's a grant. The expenses are rolled over, but Mr. Corbett got a grant for that.
So it's not coming directly from ad valorem taxes. Thank you very much.
That is awesome.
Good point.
I don't have any questions. Thank you for the
Thank
presentation.
you very much.
Moving on to the consent agenda, is there a motion to approve the consent?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, next up, communications from citizens for items that are not on the agenda tonight. Lori, are there any cards?
Yes. Michael Tonis.
I keep on looking, Mike Tones, Tequesta Trace, 110D Lighthouse Circle in Tequesta Trace. We're right across the road from the railroad tracks. I keep on looking at your board on the website and it doesn't seem to change. Is there anything going on? When are we going to get our quiet zone? Because our real estate values are coming down. Kids are waking up. You know, we go from babies up to now, the 102 passed away, so we're up to about 98 in age.
Is that the only thing you wanted to comment on? Because otherwise I can let the manager give an update, but if there's anything else, I would love
No,
to
I
give
just
you
wanted to know what's
just the
happening.
okay,
I'm getting
perfect.
questions all the time. What do you hear? What do you hear?
Great. Okay, I just want to make sure I gave you your full 3 minutes and we didn't eat that up with staff time. So, Manager Allen, would you mind giving an update on the quiet zone?
Sure. I'm going to say this nicely, but this is government at its worst. We've been working on not the quiet zone per se, but the safety improvements for that crossing, which is necessity. Before we even talk about a quiet zone, we have to improve that crossing. We have decided, or we've been really trying to point not to spend taxpayer dollars on that. So Doug has been working, Mr. Chambers has been working with FDOT, Brightline, FEC, and it's been just a painstaking process. We had secured funding in the amount of $534,000, which is what it's going to take to improve that crossing with these safety features. So we didn't want to spend taxpayer dollars on that. We have other needs and uses. So we did have an agreement in place. Brightline had made a verbal commitment to do those improvements for us. They have since withdrawn that commitment. We have another meeting with FDOT, Doug does, Mr. Chamber does, next week to see how we're going to proceed, because the money was supposed to be from FDOT. Brightline was going to do those improvements. So we don't know where we're going to end up, because now that agreement is void because Brightline has withdrawn from that agreement. So I'll continue each month to try to provide an update to council. I know from time to time I send you guys emails to give you guys updates, but from the public standpoint, I can provide these updates on a monthly basis as we get them. So the process, everybody, I've been asked, why is it taking us so long, but Jupiter's got them? Well, I think there's a different funding source, and we've been really trying not to use our resources to do that. So that's why this process is painstakingly long. I do commend Doug. He's nonstop with this, so it's not like we're not working behind the scenes.
Thank you. Any other cards, Lori?
Yes, Butch Powell.
Thank you, Mayor Young, council members, town manager, and all of you folks at Village at Tequesta for the opportunity to speak to preserving and protecting the Jupiter Narrows. As it's stated on your website, it's a worthwhile mission and I applaud it. However, I will ask the question of this council. Protecting and preserving the Jupiter Narrows, is it a mission just to protect mangroves, or is it a mission to protect the waterway itself, or should it be both? I'm hoping all of you have had time to read the email I sent on Monday, as well as the attachment that was in that email. It has lots of pictures as to how the waterway is used today. A lot of that has changed since the advent of the slow speed zone was implemented by the FWC earlier this year. It also lists some of the material adverse impacts that would occur to the waterway in the event the JNCA current breakwater plan is installed as it is. With that background, I'm urging the Village of Tequesta to send correspondence to the JNCA, to the FWC, and to the FDEP to not only protect the mangroves, but also to protect the waterway. As many of you know, I've been very involved with working with the FWC and many others, including a lot of you on this council, to lower the speed zone in the Jupiter Narrows. I'm delighted after 7+ years, the effort was successful, and the vast majority of boaters are obeying the law. Not all, but the vast majority. Unfortunately, the JNCA plan does not incorporate the new speed zone. And their plan to install these very large breakwaters is ongoing. To give you an idea of the size, it's roughly 3 football fields in length, 17 feet wide, and they consume 50 to 60 feet of the waterway from the edge of the mangroves back to the channel. Breakwaters, as they're currently designed, are going to create safety hazards. They'll remove boating access. They'll restrict public use where they're constructed. They would definitely destroy the pristine views that you now have, and they'll forever scar this very beautiful area that's designated as outstanding Florida water by Florida statute. I'm asking the council for a letter that suggests a new plan be developed, substantially like that implemented by the Jupiter Lighthouse, Gelona as it's more affectionately known, on the South Shore. It's a very effective, much smaller breakwater, and would preserve the area rather remarkably. This is very consistent.
Which, if you could wrap it up, your 3 minutes. The alarm did not go off, to be fair, but if you could wrap it up, because the 3 minutes is
okay.
Up. Thank you.
It's very consistent with the council mission statement to protect the safety of the community, uphold the interests, and advance the community vision. The FWC and FDP need your public input as they traverse the regulatory side of this. Thanks for your time. Sorry, a little bit over.
Thank you, Butch.
Okay, I think we'll get that volume on. I'll bring this up during, I received Butch's email, I'm sure everyone else did. I'll bring this up during any other matters to see if council wants to further discuss this at a workshop or at a later date. Any other cards? Nope. Any other public comment on items that are not on the agenda tonight? All right, moving on. Communications from council.
I don't have anything tonight.
Nothing in particular, but in reference to the first public comment, because that is a mouthful of an explanation, is there a way we can send him a synopsis in writing so he can help share that amongst his community? Yeah, just a synopsis, because you did explain it very thorough and it was a lot to take in, and that's hard to memorize when you're sitting here in 3 minutes. And then that way he has something he can share consistently with the residents that are bombarding him for answers. At least that way the information is consistent. I appreciate that.
I believe there was another development too that we said that their board had asked for updates, and we were gonna kind of give them updates too.
We have been in conversation with them about stormwater, and we have provided those comments to them.
No, that's a quiet zone. Never mind. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. Additional comment on the quiet zone as well, or safety improvements, is to keep in mind that the Martin County side, when it hits county line, even though it's going to be quiet on Tequesta, Martin County is still going to not have the safety improvements or approve the quiet zone. So that horn's still going to sound in that small area. And that's something we can try to work on with Martin County government. But that small area, I don't know how much of relief that's going to be for the Tequesta Trace residents. And I think that's a little bit of our hesitancy on $500,000 for the safety improvements, is we might not see relief even if we make those improvements because of the county line. Thank you.
I look forward to, I want to thank Greg and his department, Mr. Corbett, for tomorrow night's event. We light the Christmas tree. Please, everyone, come out. It's going to be an amazing event at Constitution Park.
Just one quick thing. Two quick things. I went to Florida League of Cities Legislative Conference in Orlando last week. Probably to no one's surprise, the biggest topic was property tax reform. So it'll be, they talked about where the bills, the bills that are currently moving forward and what they're, hearing and thinking is going to happen on the Senate side. So it was very informative. And FLC did officially vote and publish their legislative platform, which I think the manager shared with everyone, so everyone has a copy of that. And otherwise, I just want to say happy holidays to everyone, because I know we won't be, some of us will be together tomorrow night, I'm sure, but otherwise we won't be up here again until after the new year. And I just really want to thank our police and fire staff, and I know we have some other staff that are on call 24/7 during the holidays, because I know that you are away from your families and loved ones during this time of year. So truly just thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you guys do for our community. Okay, moving on to standing reports. Village Attorney.
I have no report this evening other than to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and it is very nice to see all of you.
Likewise.
All right, Village Manager.
Yeah, just tag team on what Vice Mayor Sartori said. I mean, go backwards. That Western event that Greg and his team put on was an awesome event. I was over there. A lot of people in cowboy boots dancing. So obviously, that's what the community. That's what's great about our community and people showing up and supporting that. Good news. House Bill 4025, sponsored by Representative Snyder, which transfers ownership of Tequesta Park from Florida Internal Trust Funds of the Village of Tequesta, passed through its first committee today unanimously. So Mr. Snyder, thank him and all that he's done to help support Tequesta today. We obviously have 2 more stops for that, and a lot more steps before it gets passed, but definitely it's trending in the right direction. Super excited about that, trying to temper my expectations, but hopefully it keeps moving. Tree lighting ceremony tomorrow. I'm excited about that. Village Hall will be closed December 24th and 25th, and December 31st and January 1st. As you guys know, because of the workshop does fall between those 2 holidays, we have canceled the December 29th workshop. And just with the holidays, a wonderful time of year just to kind of reflect, spend some quality time with family, be grateful for the things that we have. The village is an amazing place to live, work, and visit. We have an amazing, hardworking staff. Appreciate them. Today I had the opportunity to make our team even better. Promoted Allison Bellsberg to the position of Director of Utilities. She's been awesome in the interim role and been part of our team for quite a long time, and I think we got better today. So just want to congratulate her, and she has a great passion for making water, and she has a great passion for the village. So super excited, probably more than she is, that we're bringing her aboard as a part of our team. So that's my report.
Thank you. Council, any comments, questions?
One question. I've sort of talked with Jeremy about it, but just so you guys know where I'm coming from. When we have these standing reports, they're up from every department, and I'm not saying we need every department. I am requesting if we can get a park and rec update at least twice a year, just especially since they're seasonal. So let's say in January, February, we get an update of what were the attendances like for the events that went through the season. How is the rec center going with classes? Are classes full? Just to kind of get a temperature. So as we maybe have to adjust things in the budget season or even strategic planning, maybe we're taking on Tequesta Park. I just feel like we're lacking a little bit right now on data for us and answering resident questions as well. So maybe even just biannually for right now.
Yeah, we can talk online of what you're looking for. I mean, we have most of that statistics is in the manager's report with all of our attendance for classes and events is in there as well, but we can talk offline.
But it would be nice.
Provide whatever you guys need, so no problem.
Greg, if you're listening, we do like you and appreciate you wherever you went. It's nice to see you every once in a while, so maybe see you twice a year.
Here.
I know he was here.
I told him after his consent agendas were done, he could leave, and he took me up on it, so.
Just it's nice to see your department heads every now and then. They're usually pretty busy behind the scenes, and you don't get to see them a whole lot.
Any other comments or questions for Jeremy? No? All right. Police Department.
Evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Before you, you have our monthly report. Just a couple of things I want to highlight and some that may not have made it. We had the Tequesta Chili Cook-Off. We had officers present there. The civilian firearms continues. The Tequesta Hold'em event, as well as tomorrow's event, we will have our officers out there. As well as with the firefighters, I'll let him talk about it, about their event on Saturday. We'll be there as well. We had monthly, yearly training for firearms. All the officers went through that training. I want to highlight Jax Boris, who today is his official last day in training. He is now a fully certified Tequesta police officer, so he will be out for vehicle out there by himself. He's done a great job through the process. Officer Easton completed his phase 1 today, so he's also en route to being solo at some point. I think you all know, tomorrow we'll be doing an event with your explorers and the police officers at Hannah's home. We'll be bringing holiday cheer over there, we'll bring some toys. I just want to thank a couple of people that honestly really stepped up from the community. I want to thank Eric Peterson from Evo, who donated so many toys to the families. I want to thank Domino's, who donated all the food, local Tequesta, always involved with great things. And as well as one of our parent volunteers, Robert, explorers, he will be playing Santa for the kids tomorrow. So we'll be leaving from the station at 3:30 and we'll be heading over there. So we're looking forward to that event. And just lastly, I always talk about grants, and today you all approved our grant for FDLE. I want to acknowledge Assistant Chief McGrew. There's a lot of stuff, like Jeremy said, that goes on behind the scenes people don't see. Grant writing is not an easy task. Those of you who have done it, you know what it means. For our third time, we were able to obtain the FDLE grant for over $40,000. So this is our third time getting it. We've trained a lot of people on firearms. We've now received over $135,000 between the 3 grants. With this grant, we'll be able to upgrade Station 11, or the Annex, I don't know what it's being called, but we'll be bringing training tables as well as AV equipment up there. So it's coming along real well, and I think our community will really enjoy it. Jeremy and I have talked about, once we get it up and running, to running quarterly defensive tactics for our community, some with the kids, families, and kind of bringing the community a little closer, as well as some fraud training that we want to give our seniors and the community. So we're going to put that to a lot of use. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for the chief?
No, thank you, Chief.
Just real quick, on the run for the pies, I'm on the court, I'm on the race course, so I'm stuck in my house for 3 hours. But they do a great job. I mean, they do before, during, and then even after, securing all the corners and things like that. So I know that's a task that nobody wants to do, and it's assumed that it's going to be taken care of, but you guys do a great job at that. So please tell the team that it's noticed. Our neighborhood right there at the corner of Tequesta Drive and North Dover collectively made a comment about how great it was. Everybody was out there early, during, and then after. So thank you.
I appreciate it. We get a lot of questions before, during, and after. So yes, I appreciate that. I'll let them know. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, Fire Department.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. Very busy month once again. I had a great meeting with our new utilities director. We're going to be working hand in hand, doing a lot of stuff with fire hydrant testing, maintenance, and quite possibly a countywide hazmat drill at the water plant, which will be a showcase our great village. Chili Cook-Off was once again overwhelming for me to see. I've seen some very big events, but something like that was unreal. So local, and it was a blessing to be a part of it. Went to the Fallen Firefighter Memorial up in Ocala. Very moving experience. I don't know, Councilmember French, if you've ever been to it. It is so worth it. Great mustache, by the way. I had to mention, I don't know if it's leftover from November or how you did it, so it's great. Also on the Run for the Pies, another great event, and I just keep getting more and more surprised every time I see these and just the things we do here, and I'm just very blessed to be part of it. We have our open house. That's going to blow me away again. I've seen pictures and kids running all over that place. It's going to be awesome, an awesome morning. And then on Sunday, we have the JTA Christmas Parade through Abacoa, and we will be represented there as well. I'm working with Tequesta Country Club for when they start doing their demo. I believe it's sometime in the summer of next year. They are going to let us train there, and there's nothing better than live training on a real building. So it's going to be a great partnership with us. We'll get to train there for several weeks and probably invite the county over to do some joint municipal training. let's see, what else do I have? Once again, working with Dylan on a few things for the House Bill 929. He's been a great big help. I'm glad I finally got to put a name with the face. And we have just finished in draft our new mental health policy, which will be for fire, but I'm going to present it to the safety committee for the entire village, and hopefully it can potentially get adopted. It takes into account suicide prevention and all the different facets of mental health throughout public safety. So there's some pictures in there from the cook-off. If you want to scroll to them, there you can see them actually. Like I said, what an amazing event. And then we did get honored by Run for the Pies for being involved with that organization for so many years, and it was unbelievable. Everybody there is great, and what they do is fantastic. And with the police department, I don't know how they do it, because that would be really frustrating to do what they do out there. So if you have any questions for me.
Thank you. Council, any comments or questions?
No questions, but I think that's awesome that you guys are taking advantage of a building that you can train in, because so much better to train in a building that's not a real life situation. So
yeah, absolutely.
Really love that partnership you guys just made right there.
So we've been over there a few times, and they've been nothing but helpful, and to do some of the things you just don't get to do at a training facility that's kind of aseptic, for lack of a better term. So it's like a real building. We actually get to go in there and cut holes in the roof and different stuff. So it's going to be pretty neat. I'm looking forward to it. So nice. Thank you very much. Y'all have a great holiday.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, and last, Utilities Department update by our brand new Utilities Director, Allison.
Vice Mayor, Council, Allison Felsberg, Utilities Director. What a pleasure it is tonight to stand in front of you. And before I provide any additional updates, I just want to say how amazing the team is here. And finding out that I did get the position, they were so supportive and encouraging. So these past 6 weeks have been an amazing opportunity to learn and grow, and I feel so much like a part of the village. I'm very happy to step into this position and can't wait to see what the future has. Moving into some updates, they left, but I wanted to give a shout out to PD. They did provide us a security assessment at the water treatment plant to ensure that all of the security enhancements that we're moving forward with, like our gate replacements and fence repairs, will all meet security standards that you would expect at a water treatment plant, which is a high tier security facility. We did complete PFAS sampling just to get more updated results. So that was completed yesterday. We should have the results by the end of the year. And we did complete those, and we are rushing those results because the invoices can be charged to our settlement. So that will all be included in our settlement claim. Water main 1, the west side of the bridge is complete with the underground work. They are working on testing it, so pressure testing it and then bacteriologically clearing it. Once that's done, we'll move into restoration. So sidewalks, roads, sod, irrigation, and sidewalks, driveways, roads, sod, and irrigation will all be repaired early January. And they will be moving towards the east side of the bridge. I'm sure you've seen some of the laydown that's begun on the east side of the bridge. The boring work should be complete the first week of January, so it will kind of dwindle down to about half of the crew that you see out there now. And they do have planned substantial completion for February of 2026. That did get extended slightly, so a change order will be coming next council meeting just for rain delays, which is allowed in the contract. Dover Ditch, the plantings will occur December 22nd and 23rd, and the project will be complete before the end of the year, and we will be requesting that grant funding reimbursement in January. For County Line Road, our replacement of our water main and raw water main will kick off the first week of January. Our project will be commencing at the same time as FPL's replacement. They have some poles that go along that waterway as well that would be in the place of the new bridge, so they have to relocate those. And I have been working with Martin County on the coordination of their timeline, and they have let us know that they will be bidding their project the first week of January, and they plan to close the bridge in spring of 2026. As we get more finalized dates, we'll be sure to communicate those with residents. For our fire hydrant testing and inspection, we have completed just over 25% of our fire hydrants. And any hydrants that have been identified for repair have been repaired within 48 hours. And I don't believe any to date have been requested replacement, so we haven't had to deal with that, but repairs have been ongoing, but done in an expeditious fashion. For our filter vessel project, we have worked with the contractor. They will be reducing the scope of work. So as a result of our upcoming master plan to address our PFAS, we have reduced the scope of that project to ensure that we're not expending funds, that we will be moving away from that type of treatment in the future. So we are looking at the way that we're spending the money now to make sure we're doing it in the best way. And that is all I have. So I hope Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you all. I hope you get to spend time with your family. And I will take questions.
Thank you. Council, any comments or questions?
Welcome, congrats. Thank you for going through the process. Appreciate that. The only question I get from residents is once you guys finish doing a piping area, is there a plan for sod to be going in rather than just leaving it as big dirt areas?
Yes, all the areas that were disturbed will be resodded. The way that they work, they kind of split this project into two, the west side of the bridge
I know
and
you
the
have
east
to let
side.
time settle. I'm just wondering, but it is on the plan.
Yes, it will be done early January for the west side of the bridge.
Thank you, Allison. One item that, speaking with some of the other cities like Boca Raton, they seem to have a lot of success in having full PFAS removal by having a 100% RO system. I'd be supportive if during your plans on creating a solution that we could see a report on that, on changing our water supply to 100% RO.
Yes, 100%. So the way that the master plan is going to work, they will consider some other options. There are implications with every option that's chosen, but membrane treatment has been proven to remove a lot of things that aren't even regulated yet. So I do think it is effective, but it does have the largest financial requirements up front. So we'll just be looking at all of that, but it will be considered and one of the larger considerations.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Congratulations. You and I have had a conversation on this, but I just wanted to bring it up again publicly. On the east side of the bridge where we're into now, it's Tequesta Drive. That is right where, as you approach Tequesta Drive, Riverside Drive, that's where Tequesta Drive starts to S a little bit. In the last 2 or 3 streets, like Norfolk, Evergreen, North Dover, it's tough to see when we stage overnight some of the trucks and some of the equipment there in the right of way. And I understand that's necessary and know that I mentioned it to the village manager and the trucks were gone. So thank you for addressing that. And I know probably as the project lingers on, people might just get a little bit forgetful or more lax. But it really is a visual impediment when they're in that right of way. And it's kind of tough. Just the way that street is naturally S and curved, even when there's nothing there, you have to almost get out into the oncoming traffic to see left or right. So thanks for that. And I know that this kind of work is dirty and it's messy and it's very traumatic to the surrounding area. And just reminding the crews to clean up after themselves with hard plastic that gets cracked. I don't know if it's casings from something that they're doing, but that stuff is dangerous. It's a danger when you find it on the streets and things like that. So just pass that along to those crews to kind of tidy up when they're done at the end of every day.
Will do.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I echo the vice mayor on that, and I've had conversations with the manager, but not just utility. That happens at all of our construction sites throughout the village. So that, Wayne is on that too, because in our neighborhood, some job sites are sightline issues, and you have to stick your nose, the hood of your car, your nose out there, and then there's a car coming, and you just slam the brakes. So whether it's utilities project or a construction project, our staff needs to be on top of that. And then I'm hoping the answer is yes. It probably is, but I have to ask. They just did that patch on El Portal. I'm hoping it's a patch, and they'll come back and fix all that beautiful paving that Doug did last year or earlier this year.
Yes, it will be repaved from intersection to intersection. Okay,
yeah, and just when you make sure the elevations are right, because that was beautifully done. There was no more flooding, and sometimes you patches too. If it's not done right, there's puddles, and so yeah, it hurts to see that that pavement in that condition after it was all just redone. So.
I am very fortunate. Doug has provided a lot of guidance and help. So yes, it will be done.
Good to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the regular agenda under old business, agenda item 19. Ordinance number 12-25, second reading of an ordinance to add reasonable accommodations for certified recovery residents.
Good evening, council. I'm going to read this ordinance by title. This is ordinance number 12-25 on second reading, which is an ordinance of the Village Council of the Village of Tequesta, Florida, amending Chapter 22, Community Development, to create an entirely new article, reasonable accommodations, to codify the village's existing processing reasonable accommodation requests and housing, including such requests from certified recovery residences, as required by Florida Statute Section 397.487, repealing prior resolution number 5-18, providing that each and every other section and subsection of Chapter 22 Community Development shall remain in full force and effect as previously adopted, providing conflicts clause, severability clause, authority to codify, an effective date, and for other purposes. So what happened was this year the legislature amended Section 397-487 and essentially mandated that all municipalities within the state of Florida adopt within their code of ordinances a reasonable accommodation ordinance that also specifically calls out recovery residences. The village already had its reasonable accommodation policy, which you all adopted via resolution, I believe back in 2017. So essentially what's happening here is we are just taking that existing policy and codifying it within your code of ordinances and adding the provisions required by state law. Other than that, nothing is changing from the village's prior policy. This is the second time you're seeing this. If you have any specific questions about this ordinance, I'm happy to answer them for you.
Thank you, Dylan. Council, any comments or questions?
No, thank you.
I do. Mr. Mayor. Do we currently have any recovery residences in the Village of Tequesta? Maybe that's for the manager.
Not that we're aware of. We know there's one up in Martin County, but we're not aware of any in our jurisdiction.
In my personal line, and we cannot prohibit them because it's a protected class. Like we can't deny them. If they were going to be, just as the ordinance reads, they have to be certified, licensed, properly monitored. We can't deny their coming into the village. Is that correct?
So you have existing zoning regulations that outline where these things can be or cannot be. They are a protected group under the ADA, and so they have the ability to come forward and say, I would like to make a reasonable accommodation from your zoning regulations. That comes in through an application form. They're reviewed on a case-by-case basis. There are certain things that have to prove in order to meet that qualification under the ADA, and that's the point of this process, is to look at them and on a case-by-case basis. And
can you give us an example of a reasonable accommodation, such as?
So they're very broad, and the ADA is a very broad federal policy that essentially what it says is if you're suffering from any kind of physical disability, or it also includes things like I would say alcoholism and things like that, that you are able to come forth and make a request for an accommodation for any governmental policy. Most often what we do see is a lot of it does come from recovery residences who want to reside in areas that are typically residential, as anyone else would be able to. Outside of the recovery residences, it can be a broad range of topics that any type of governmental policy which someone who is suffering from a disability claims creates a hardship for them. They can,
like such as a ramp for access to the property. Somebody that has sight issues, bright lights that can go on in the evening. Page 6 of the ordinance states that the village can deny the request if it requires a fundamental alteration to the village's zoning scheme. Who defines fundamental alteration, and what flexibility do we have?
The answer to that question is it is defined by a judge who is reviewing a specific case brought under the ADA. In fact, that language, fundamental alteration of the zoning scheme, comes straight out of existing ADA case law. Unfortunately, it really does come down to a case-by-case review by a judge in a court of law. The case law that is out there basically states as much.
I guess my concerns are not so much for the reasonable accommodation, but for the recovery residence itself. In my line of work during the day when I'm not here, I work in law enforcement, and I just had a public records request for police calls to a chemical recovery residence in another part of the county. And I can tell you that the police activity at such a residence is of such concern and such an alarm that the county actually had to postpone this issue because of that, because just to get a better understanding of it. And I would hate for us to see that. So I know that has more so for the beginning or the starting of a recovery residence versus the reasonable accommodation. But say a reasonable accommodation, if somebody says, this recovery residence is going to have 12 people residing in it. Well, we don't have parking for 12 people. We don't have parking spaces for 12 people. We don't get all those things. So is that something that would be outside the fundamental, the village's zoning scheme, something like that? They say, well, we're gonna have 12 people, we need to park 12 cars.
You would have to meet parking requirements. In fact, in the ADA case law, that there have been cases which have upheld parking limitations on uses like that as being reasonable.
Yeah, I feel this preemption from the state it's I don't think it was well thought through, but we have to move forward with that in order to be compliant. But if this ever comes to us, I hope whoever is on council at that time really takes a look at the request for the accommodation for anything, for something like that. Because I can tell you the crime statistics outside of the village of Tequesta are, they're abusive, they're horrendous, and your jaw would drop if you saw the number of calls going to a recovery residence versus my house or your house. So that's my concern. We need to really watch this and monitor this as a council and as a village, because this is a quality of life and a safety issue for our residents. And I believe firmly, and I state it quite often, my role up here is to protect the health, the safety, and the well-being of our residents. And this is a health, and safety, and well-being of our residents issue. So for as long as I am sitting up here and have a vote, I will be watching anything and everything that comes into this. So that's my comments. Thank you.
So would this even come to council? I thought this was a staff function. Because you just mentioned like future councils. Would it even come to council?
It would be reviewed.
Yes, this is staff.
At staff level.
I would support it going by council. If we could make that happen, where it would have to go by council for a use.
Is there any law or preemption against that?
Or can we just request in that, how do we have a protocol that something like this from staff is notified to council? Like council should be aware of this, because if we wanted to try to take a stand, maybe the wrong approach. If you want to take a stand against something, we need to be aware of what's going on. And council needs to go into that with eyes wide open, that, hey, we might want to, we don't believe in this for all the other reasons outside of just it deviates from our zoning scheme.
If I can jump in, Jay Houch, Community Development Director. So at North Palm Beach, the reasonable accommodations do go to council. So, and I wouldn't mind, I apologize, I haven't really looked at this as been legal. I wouldn't mind having a chance to kind of take a look at it and compare it to the North Palm code that I used to enforce, because we had a lot of reasonable accommodation requests come in there. And so, Jeremy and Dylan, if you guys are okay with it, I wouldn't mind getting a chance to kind of relook at it and maybe reshape it a little bit and require it to come to council.
So let me just preface out, I think we passed this because I think we are up against the deadline. We do have to get this passed by the end of this month. Then we can look at it and bring it back to amend it and whatever you guys, if that's where you guys want to go, we'll look at that process.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Right now, all we're doing is taking our resolution and adopt it as an ordinance. So
understood.
Now that we know that the council has a desire to look at that, we can bring that back and have that discussion. So.
And I'm bringing code changes to planning and zoning likely in January, which would come to council in February. So it's possible you could just roll that right in there if there's an opportunity to make a change.
So even the bringing it to council, is that something we could not? Because I know within reason sometimes you can add something or modify an ordinance, or is that too big of a change that would have to be done when we do it later?
Going from administrative to council, I probably have to
do it later. Okay. And so one's comment, one's a question. We did advocate against this last year. I know I don't think that the residents know, and really why would they, how much we are involved during sessions and how much we advocate for or against things that we know will benefit Tequesta or could harm Tequesta. I'll probably be up there twice this session. I've already been emailing committee members on bills. So I just want the residents to know, we work so hard behind the scenes during session with our state legislators to do what we think is right for the village. I know this was one we were advocating against last year, and I don't know if you've heard from Kent. I haven't seen anything come out that is going to maybe address this again this session, but maybe put it at, a bug in Ken's ear that we're still, not pleased with it, and for him to let us know if he thinks anything's going to come out this session in regards to that. The one that's a question, my other question is, what you brought up, Vice Mayor, is, you see a lot of this through your job, and I would be interested to know, where in the county, how many are they, and where are they? Right? Are they usually kind of centralized in one area? Do property values have anything to do with it? I would just really be curious on that to give maybe, us a better idea. Is this something we really need to worry about? Again, we want to tighten this up and be able to have a little more control over this, but should there be alarm in the community that, oh my gosh, they're going to start showing up everywhere? Or what does the data or statistics show countywide? And maybe you have some of that knowledge through your work. But when you bring it back to us, I would love to know that too, because I don't want there to be alarm out there that they're going to start popping up all over the place now. This has been, when was that resolution adopted? 2014?
17.
Or 17?
Sounds right.
You weren't on council yet either, were you? No.
No.
Yeah, so it predates us, and nothing's happened since then too. So I just don't want there to be alarm out there too, that all of a sudden this is going to be a huge problem. So yeah, just any data backup you can provide when we revisit this would be fantastic.
Will do.
Be more than happy to assist in any way I can from the law enforcement side.
Would love that. Thank you.
And Mayor, I can tell you, not from official report, just from my experience, that these residences are in affluent neighborhoods, they're in low-income neighborhoods, they're in commercial areas, industrial areas.
Everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm aware, I'm very different municipality, but similar in that it has its own police, not utility and fire, but these are popping up in Lake Clark Shores, places like that, residential neighborhoods that you would not expect to see it. So it's possible, but I agree, maybe there's not a need for alarm, but we should certainly be paying attention to it.
And I mentioned it last meeting, I've personally been through this. I used to live in a higher end area, and it's not high end anymore. That's all I can say. It's very layered, it's very complicated. Vice Mayor is absolutely correct with the amount of services that need to be attending to those properties, and it's nothing on them. I've known friends to go through it, but there's a right place to do things and there's a wrong place to do things. So just say I think we should just be in front of it.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think, Jay, when do you think you'd bring that back? Listen, we have to pass this to be in line with the deadline with the state.
February.
February, okay, so we can start looking
Nothing
at
catastrophic's gonna, knock on wood, in between now.
You just jinxed us. Okay, fantastic. All right, Lori, any public comment cards? Any public comment? All right, can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, on to new business, agenda item 20, consider approval of the current fiscal year sidewalk improvement plan.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Village Council. Staff is seeking consideration for fiscal year 2026 sidewalk improvements. We're focused on several different areas. The first area being East Wind Circle, which is part of a more comprehensive road improvement project that's also on the agenda tonight. The second area is South Riverside Drive to the Dover Ditch. And then the third area is to begin replacing a 4-foot wide sidewalk on Willow Road. That whole community still has the old 4-foot wide sidewalk. In all these areas, we'll bring sidewalk up to code compliance, 5-foot wide sidewalk, 6-inch depth, and 3,000 PSI. We're utilizing the existing contract we have with Wynn & Sons Construction. You have their proposal in front of you for all of these areas, and funding is available in the capital budget. Total cost of the project is $169,904.43. Here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Council, any comments or questions?
Eastman Circle, you said this is part of the overall road improvements. Is this?
That's the next agenda item coming up.
Okay.
Road improvements in Eastman Circle.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
I know is this the last year of the 3-year contract with a piggyback?
Contract expires in the spring. However, they've been awarded the new contract, and so we'll
From the
take
county?
From the county.
Do you know what does their pricing look like? Did it go up, down,
I haven't seen the
same?
pricing yet. They haven't
Okay.
shared their pricing yet, but they did receive the award, and we'll take a look at that contract again. I mean, their pricing is always favorable. They win the contract year after year, and they stand behind their work, and they've done a great job partnering with the village. So we'll see.
Okay.
The goal is to finish these improvements before that contract expires as well.
Okay.
If this is approved tonight, we want to hit the ground running right after the new year.
Great.
Stay out of the spring and the rain. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Lori, any comment cards? No? Any public comment? All right. Council, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item 21, consider approval of this fiscal year's roadway improvement plan.
Yes, so Mayor, Council, this one here is our recommendation for road improvements in the new fiscal year. The first focus is going to be on Eastman Circle. I don't know, Jeremy, if you can pull up some of the pictures there. Residents have been extremely patient in Eastman Circle. If you take a look at some of these pictures, it's one of only 3 roads in Tequesta that were constructed with concrete.
Yeah, okay.
And between possibly the original construction, poor compaction, poor grade concrete, several oak trees in the community, the road is a mess. And so we first considered, we did some core sampling. We had engineering firm come in and complete some core sampling, and we have a really good base there. So initially we were just going to replace the damaged sections, replace concrete with concrete. And because of the favorable pricing that we have with Win & Sons, we're going to take out, the recommendation is to take out all of the concrete and replace it with asphalt, which will also help us mitigate some of the flooding issues that they have in the community. So I know the residents are extremely excited about that and getting rid of this concrete. So again, it's a comprehensive project to fix the sidewalk, fix the road, and get that water out of the road. That's the first area we're focused on. The second area is continuing Tequesta Pines where we left off last year. We're focused on Birch Place, Hickory Hill North, and Quail Circle. And then we have some targeted surface repairs and improvements on Tequesta Drive, west of Seabrook Road, and also on North Cypress Drive. Again, we will be utilizing the contract that we have with Win & Sons Construction. The total cost of the project is $614,319.09. Funding is available in the capital fund. That does leave a balance in the fund of around $95,000. And I anticipate coming back to the council with another recommendation for some road improvements after Allison and I take a look at some stormwater issues.
Thank you. Council, any comments or questions?
No.
No. Lori, any cards? No. Any public comment? All right. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Doug.
you, Doug.
Agenda item 22, site plan modification 05-25, application by the Village of Tequesta for modifications to Chief Medini did Station 11, but I know Manager Allen keeps trying to get everyone to say the annex, but I don't think that's ever going to happen for the record. I think it's always going to be Station 11. Jay, the floor is yours.
Good evening, Jay Hutch, Community Development Director, representing the Village of Tequesta tonight on this request for the Village Annex, aka Station 11. It's a site plan modification. You all know where Station 11 is on Seabrook Drive. It was originally constructed in 1978, used as a fire station, and it's no longer in operation as a fire station. Property is owned R1. Currently in use for storage and overflow office usage. Due to overcrowding at Village Hall, the building department is really needing extra space. So they're going to relocate code enforcement and building inspectors over there. And additionally, the police department will use it as well. And I believe the clerk's office will also be using it for some record storage. So it's going to be used by a lot of different departments. So here's the initially proposed architecture for the site. A new standing seam metal roof, which would kind of cover some of the mechanical equipment on top. A new exterior color, which would be kind of a stucco. There's kind of some grooves in the current building. So this would be stucco and painted kind of this white kind of cream color. There'd be new color roll-up doors. And then there's new decorative stone proposed. There actually is a sample of the decorative stone over by Jeremy. If anyone wants to take a look at it, feel free to pass it down. I think it looks pretty nice. And then there'd be a police department sign and a Village of Tequesta sign on there as well. So we initially took this to the Planning and Zoning Board in August. And at that meeting, the board thought that the renderings we showed didn't really show what the building would look like with landscaping. So they asked us to create a updated landscape plan. So we got Steve Parker to create a landscape plan. Additionally, they also wanted us to consider using the same, and this was also staff's input, using the same color that's on the rec center, that nice blue color, and putting that on the roll-up doors rather than the gray that the architect initially proposed. So here's that blue color from the rec center, which I think everybody loves. Called Sherwin-Williams Blue Blood. And so we did go back to the drawing board with a new landscape plan. If you've seen it, the landscaping is in need of a little bit of TLC there. So Steve Parker has proposed 3 sable palms kind of at the foot of the building near those roll-up doors. There'd be 2 silver buttonwoods at the entrance when you're pulling up off of Seabrook. There'd be 3 Geiger trees. All the existing oak trees on Seabrook would remain. There'd be 1 new oak tree added. There'd be a cocoa plum hedge all along the front with emerald blanket ground cover on the bottom and Kalusia on the south side of the property. So really refresh the whole site. Also, village manager has talked about possibly wanting to add parallel parking on Shea Place. There's an opportunity to put 2 spaces there in the future, kind of for overflow parking at Remembrance Park or Constitution Park or the rec center. So we have designed the landscape plan to make sure that that would work if the village ever decides to put those spaces on Shea Place. So here's the rendering. This is the new color with that blue from the rec center. And then obviously showing the updated kind of landscape palette that's being installed. And then here is the gray color that is the color that our architect initially chose. The PZB, there was a little bit of, I think 3 or 4 of them liked this color the most. They had ultimately ended up voting for this color, but I'll just show you back and forth. They thought that this color was a little bit more muted and that it would blend in a little bit more in a residential zoning district, and that the blue was a little bit bold. That's where they were at. Here's your criteria for review. It's a standard review criteria for site plans, harmony with other buildings and surroundings, methods of harmonious design, inappropriate building styles, all the things you guys typically look at on site plans. Summary of the November PZB meeting. So we brought back those updated colors to them. They did ultimately vote 3-2 to recommend approval of the proposed gray color for the roll-up doors. Everyone did like the colors and like the project. The dissenting votes were solely because 2 of the members wanted mullion windows in the front of the building rather than the purely glass window. So I'll go back and show you with the glass windows, they probably look a little bit more of like a commercial window, whereas the mullion windows would look a little bit more like a residential building. So they thought the mullion would fit in more in that residential neighborhood. So you see the two glass entrances there, not entrances, they're windows actually. The doors are actually on the sides.
So you're seeing right behind like that sable palm, that's a window or a door?
Yes, that the sable palm on my left this way is a window. And then on the right side, also a window. And the doors actually go north-south, so they're tucked in.
And was there a suggestion to make that the blue color? Is that why they were pushing for those, or they just wanted that type of window, like the accent within?
They wanted mullion, which is like
the kind of cross.
Yeah, the cross hatch that you'd have in a kind of in a residential one. Okay. I apologize for that.
Not in an attempt to pull the blue in, not make that blue.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's my presentation.
Great, thank you, Jay. Council, open it up for discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I think I get it. The gray does blend a little better, and I assume that's a lot of space to have blue, I guess. But given the proximity to the rec center that's right there, it would be nice to like tie it in somehow with that blue, if I'm being picky. And I guess outside of the garage doors, I don't know how you would really do that. But it's just a few properties down, so it'd be nice to kind of have that cohesive look. And it looks good, but that's just my opinion.
Okay, a couple things. I did listen to P&Z because I try to hear what all of our different teammates are saying. I'll start with the parking on the road. I'm not against with the parking on the road. My only really question towards that would be, I guess village staff or whoever's parking a vehicle there, would it be allowed overnight, or does it still have to follow the no overnight parking on the roads?
We are technically not asking for approval to do that tonight.
Okay.
We just designed the landscape plan so that if the village ever decided to do that, we could put those spaces in.
Gotcha. The window thing, I don't have a big issue with it. The rec center does have a different type of window, and it's even on here. So I could see maybe and this would go into budget. I don't know what the exact numbers are. I mean, that would be a solution if we matched the windows from another Tequesta building to match this one, because they're only a X amount of parcels apart from each other. And then as far as the garage doors, again, going into budget, we weren't trying to spend a ton of money on this because we're just trying to bring this building back to life, give it life so it's being used, not just sitting there rotting. If a magical budget was there, I would say change out the garage doors to where they look like wood panels. So it's a little more aesthetically pleasing rather than a vinyl. And again, not asking for that, just saying if it was budget friendly, I would do that. The blue, I like the blue better, absolutely. I am fully against the gray. However, considering the feedback of wanting it to blend more, we could choose a different hue value for that blue. So tone it down. Same blue, so it's still cohesive with the Tequesta properties, but tone it down. That would be my recommendation. Keep the blue, but tone down the hue value so it's not so blue. Because it is such a solid piece right there versus at the rec center, they're on the awnings, which have the little slats. So that would be my feedback for right now.
Design's not my expertise, so I'm gonna go with the P&Z's decision.
Are the garage doors intended to be functional, like to open up so like on a cool day, that bay or whatever's being done in there is to be?
I think they do intend to use it.
Yeah, so that way they can go in and out if they're doing a training, so that's the intent. I mean, not every day, obviously, weather, heat, right, all that stuff, so.
I like the idea with the blue as well. That's the color I would prefer. The windows, I agree with Lori about making it consistent more so with the rec center. I'm not a fan, and I don't know why, I'm just not a fan of the sable palms in between the garage doors. I mean, those things fall, and if it's open, I think it kind of clutters it. So I'm not a fan of those sable palms. I like to have those removed, but I'm not going to stop progress because of that. But I think they're there, and it just kind of covers up the building. And those can be ugly trees at times. I mean, I know they're native, but they can be really ugly as they grow up.
Yeah.
They get trimmed, and then you get the little thing that looks like a deer that you paint for Christmas, a reindeer. You get those things. Yeah, that's what I keep envisioning. So anyway, the blue, I'd like the windows to be consistent. Again, all based on budget. And I'm just not a fan of those three sable palms.
Yeah, I agree. I like the blue. I know I'm on record often up here saying that I'm sick of all these applications that we get of the same colors all the time and everything's matchy-matchy. But in this case, I think that it should be cohesive with the rec center that's really close by, and that Tequesta should be proud of our buildings. And I think like having them match makes it very evident that this is a Village of Tequesta building. So I think it should be blue. I'm not going to say I'm not a fan of the sable palms, and my reason's different than the vice mayor's. What is expected to be brought in and out of those doors? Like, are those subject to get hit by trailers? I mean, me, it's more of a issue with like, are they gonna survive because they're gonna run into it by a trailer by accident?
Yeah, we checked the spacing on it. I can't remember the exact number, but it's something like 12 or 14 feet between them. So it's the width that you need for cars to get through. We're not gonna be driving fire trucks in there.
That, but anything on a trailer or anything? Like, are the police storing?
I mean, the only time I see us storing something there is maybe like a weather event where we have a whole bunch of cars that we need to make sure they're, we get hail or something, we have somewhere to put them. I can see us running over there. We've done it at some different spots throughout the years, but if we have it available, I can see us storing some vehicles over there, like police cars or something like that.
Okay, I mean, if we're not going to be actively hauling like stuff in and out of those, then I think they're fine with me. I was concerned from that aspect. And is there a floor plan? Usually with site plan modifications or site plan applications, we get floor plans, and there isn't one. I would have loved to see that.
Yeah, the building department has already been doing that internally. I think they're pretty close to being done. So the floor plan itself is basically done.
Okay, can that be circulated to council? It'd be nice to see that.
Sure.
Usually it's part of these applications, so I was surprised it wasn't there. And in regards to the glazing, to me, I guess a motion could be if it doesn't cost any more money at the millions, but I don't, like from a taxpayer dollar standpoint, I don't know if we should be spending more money on that detail for those two small windows, so.
If you want to make a condition that's kind of subject to cost, that'd be fine. Where you give us an out if it's significantly more expensive, because Wayne is using building funds and he's kind of on a shoestring budget, so he's already mad at how much money I've made him spend on this. So I don't want to add too much more on top of it.
And that was kind of my point with the windows. I'm not saying we should be changing them, but I'm not looking at the cost of windows. So if the cost of those new windows are very similar to something that's a little bit different, that's what I'm saying. I'm definitely not trying to add to this budget.
And since we're living in the world of no budget potentially right now, which I know we have one, but if we didn't, can you go back to the rec center real quick? And if for whatever reason that the blue doors didn't happen, we could, and I don't know the price of them, but those slatted awnings, is there an opportunity to do those to tie in that blue over the two windows?
Over.
I know. We're talking no budget. I'm just kidding.
You talking about the slats that are over the windows?
Yeah,
the problem is because the it's a recessed door, so I think it would look. So it's not just the window that's there; it's recessed, so it would look weird if you had that over the recessed entrance.
Understood.
Yeah. But we did talk about that with PCB, and I agree. If it was a pure window, we would definitely have done that.
Okay.
Are we buying new doors or are we just painting?
The roll-up doors are going to be the same door as painted.
So, it's paint.
Yeah.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, I like the blue better. Just go on record.
But for me,
on
again,
that.
it's paint that's very fixable.
And for the record, too, the PZB wasn't they weren't 100% in love with the gray and hated the blue. It was, one of those kind of.
Do one gray, one blue.
But I also want to say that too, because when it comes to the paint, it's easier to play with the paint hue values than when you order the roof panels and they're made that color. It's easier to be able to play with the tones with paint versus they were made like that. So true.
Okay, any other council comment? No.
I didn't see it.
Marsha Nielsen.
Since this is my neighborhood, I thought I'd weigh in. The blue that you use in the rec center is an accent color. If you put it on that much blue, it's going to just scream out. I'm totally opposed to the blue. It's way too much. If you tone it down, maybe, but if you use it, it's an accent color. It shouldn't be used for the main part of that building. I'm with Rick on the sable palms. They look like telephone poles right now. And when you have that, you have the underplantings, you're going to have a real problem because those underplantings are going to be crawling all over your asphalt because they're going to have no place to go. So I think that it's going to look a lot more streamlined if you scrap the 3 palms and the underplantings underneath those palms. As far as the windows, I don't really care. But I do think that the blue is just, it's going to just, it isn't going to blend with the neighborhood. You're next to the Seabrook House, which is a muted color. You're next to Remembrance Park. It's just, it's going to be bad. Anyway, that's my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment cards? No. Any other public comment? Yes, Harold?
Harold Taylor, 13 Chapel Court. I'd be curious to know what the cost would be to remove those garage doors completely and finish the building with windows instead of those garage doors. I mean, it still looks like a fire station or sub-commercial type building, and it's really in a residential area. Tone it down if you can with windows. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, so council, we need a motion, and the motion should outline the color, and then if we want to give staff discretion to make changes so long as it doesn't cost more money. Anyone want to make a motion? I cannot as the mayor.
You guys have designed and
Oh, hey,
I'm gonna go with you.
Designer either. I'm gonna take that. Gosh.
Okay. Wait, I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
Can you make it bigger again? Please. And it's just a rendering, so it's hard to tell, but Marcia does bring up a good point.
Yeah, see, I can't. So say that again. The motion has to be what?
It should clarify which scheme we want.
Okay.
So
And then also if we want to give staff a leeway to change the windows so long as it doesn't cost more money.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve with using the blue but toned down, a little more subdued, actually way more subdued, but not gray. And giving staff the option to change out the windows if they price match or within a very small difference.
So quick question on the motion. Tone down blue is very subjective. I mean, do we want them to bring us back a color? And then it's not matching the rec center, so does that really even, and it's totally different.
What if you put those awnings over the garage, the roll-up doors? Then you have an accent.
If they have to come back with a more specific color, does that push this whole thing?
So the building, the part, like the internal part, we talk about site plan, we could just, through a building permit, we're gonna have people in there soon. This exterior part, I mean, that's the site plan part we have to come through. So it'll push the project back as far as the paint and the exterior, but it doesn't necessarily change our staff being in there.
So just to be super transparent then, I would say, so everyone's on the same page, including like P and Z and everything, just bring us back color options that are same blue, but less value, so toned down. So then we can also look at it compared to the toned down yellow house that's next door and the surrounding area.
Yeah, and we can also do the doors last. I mean, I assume we could do the roof and the stucco work and the stone work and have that all done and bring this paint color back at the very end. So that I don't think that would even slow down the exterior very much either, if that's your recommendation.
Okay, so I guess I would amend my motion that we approve stick with the allow staff to change out the windows if the costs match or within a very small.
Do we need a percentage on small?
Can I ask you a question? You said,
We're spiraling, guys.
I'm gonna keep it simple.
so I hear price match, but it didn't cost us anything. The windows are there. So
We thought those are not the windows.
we
up
have
there.
existing windows.
Those aren't the same windows that are currently in there.
No, I've been in there. Those are not the windows.
Okay, well,
You were doing new windows, correct? Yeah.
Does no one like my idea of potential awnings over the roll-ups? And keeping, then you.
No, I think that's confusing.
More money.
design.
I've seen it in residential uses.
Well, but that's something we could come back with. So if you guys want to make the motion tonight to approve this as is and to come back with a final roll-up door concept at a later date, that lets Wayne do everything else on this building, and then we just have to deal with the roll-up door situation at the end.
Right.
They're already there.
All right, so that'll be my motion to approve. Allowing staff to change out windows if the price matches. No other room, okay? And we will bring back the garage door dilemma.
Solid motion.
Second.
Is everyone in favor of the convoluted motion tonight?
Yeah, I understand.
Everyone say aye. Aye.
Did you guys want to do anything with those trees? I heard trees.
I'm fine with the trees.
I'm fine with the trees.
Fine with them for
The
now.
motion did not include the
Oh,
trees,
that's-
so we're
I think
moving
that's a
on.
minimum of 3.
We're moving on.
I think something needs to be there, whether it's Sables or not. It's just.
I can do math, so.
Mayor, the next two items on our agenda are quasi-judicial applications.
Okay, well, real quick, because I think 23 is still on the agenda, but it is officially being removed. I want to put that on the record. It's a conceptual presentation to convert existing building at 171 Tequesta Drive to a membership wine club. I think, are they coming back in January? Are we expecting that?
They are coming back in January.
Okay, so that's on the record. Okay, now on agenda item 24, and Dylan you can do your thing for 24 and 25, but council will address each one separately. So 24 is a special exception use 03-25 for Tequesta Country Club, and agenda item 25 is a site plan modification 07-25 application for Tequesta Country Club. Dylan?
If you are present this evening and plan to give any testimony regarding either item 24 or 25, I need to swear you in at this time. So please stand with me. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury and the laws of the state of Florida to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony this evening? Very well, you may be seated. Before we begin SEU 0325, I will also go through the council members and ask for any ex parte communication you may have had with the applicant, that you disclose that at this time. That could include actual communication or things like going by the site, visiting the site, things of that nature.
Other than I've been to the site, just the normal course of living, no.
Okay.
No discussions with anyone. Unfortunately, I did attend a funeral at the site, and I do roam around that golf course looking for my children often.
Ooh, I shouldn't tell them that.
No, they're around, but dog gets out too.
I've communicated with staff on the site. I visited the site with the focus on the future build of the site.
I have been to the site. I have also had communications prior to being a council member and subsequent to being elected to council with various members of, I believe they call themselves the Long Range Planning Committee of the Country Club.
Good.
I have been to the site. I've spoken to staff about this project, and I think a while ago I've had a conversation with Mr. Herring on the project as well.
Thank you very much. You may proceed.
All right, so first we will address agenda item 24, again, special exception use 03-25 application for Tequesta Country Club.
Chairman, can you pull up the applicant presentation? So we're going to do joint presentations for both of the agenda items. We're going to let the applicant go first, and then Meg will kind of do a follow-up for anything that staff needs to address. And Don here will present it.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. For the record, Donaldson Hearing with Cotler Hearing here tonight on behalf of Tequesta Country Club, and we are very excited to be here We do have a few members of our team here today. We have Mr. Jeff Elsner and Sam Forrest here with the Long Range Planning Committee, and Lori from my office is here as well. We've been working on this project for a while, so it's been a lot of time has gone by. I think maybe, Madam Mayor, we met probably almost 2 years ago, but a lot of time has gone by because the board and the committee has spent a lot of time listening not only to the residents and the neighbors, but also their membership. And so a lot of changes have occurred to the overall design. We'll be really excited to come back before you in probably early February with the clubhouse, because that's where so much of the work and effort has been done. What we'll be presenting to you tonight is really the back of house things that need to be done to support the golf course itself, and elements that have to be relocated and moved to make room for the bigger project that we will be presenting to you in February. So tonight, as was pointed out by staff, we'll be talking about the special exception. We are in the open space and recreation, land use and zoning districts, and any type of a building in that district is actually approved as a special exception. There are no real uses by right in terms of architectural buildings. And we'll be focusing on our maintenance facility, which is broken into two pieces, which I'll present to you, and then what we call the cafe, which is really the halfway house. So if you've been out there in the course, the old halfway house, it's just time to replace it. It's not as functional as it needs to be in order to run the operation. Food service. And obviously, one of our goals would be to try to get that moving and up and running so that there can be at least food service, for lunch when golfers are out there playing while the clubhouse is under construction. And so that's why that is going forward first. So let me, you're certainly well aware of the history. That's what makes this place so special. The Tequesta Country Club was built in 1957. And so that means it's 68 years old. I've got fond memories as a child. My grandfather was one of the original members, and a lot of fun. The clubhouse is actually slightly older than me, which is kind of refreshing. The club, the site itself is part of the overall country club site. So the maintenance facility, the halfway house, are actually on the overall golf course property. And you may have recalled a few months ago, you approved what we call the cleanup land use amendments. A couple remnant commercial parcels that were actually part of the golf course. We made them all recreation and open space land use and zoning when we did that. So again, we're going to talk, we'll start first and review with you the halfway house, the cafe, and then we'll move you into our review the maintenance facility. So our main maintenance facility, if you've been over there and seen the maintenance facilities that exist today, which are, really very much so legacy facilities. They've been there forever. They were there when I actually spent a summer working on the course when I was a young kid out of high school many years ago. But it's all the mowers, all the equipment, everything is really stored in the facilities that are currently along Country Club Drive today. The heavier components, the mowers that go out at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, every morning, in order to mow the course and to get the greens ready. All of that activity will be actually moved to the middle of the golf course, away from the residents, and in the middle of the golf course, it'll actually be shielded and screened. And then the maintenance activities that will remain will be, a little bit more mellow type uses that would be there. We'll have our cart storage building, and our fuel storage is there, so that's where we would fuel our vehicles, as well as our pest control and our chemicals that we use, which are all very much so contained. And that's predominantly, we need to have access for vehicles to be able to get to them. For the most part, we won't have normal vehicles, road vehicles that will actually go out to the maintenance facility. It would be golf cart vehicle, small golf cart vehicles that would go back and forth between the maintenance facility out in the triangle area, as opposed to trucks and those types of vehicles other than during construction. So starting with the halfway house, the cafe, we're going to be replacing the existing building in its entirety. The orientation of the building remains very much the same. Tom Fazio, of course, has integral involvement on almost anything that we do out there on the course to try to maintain the integrity of the design of the course and the quality. And so the building will be torn down. It'll be a new building, better kitchen, still a very small one-story building. Madam Mayor, when we presented to you a couple of years ago, at the time we were actually looking at a two-story building, and we decided to go smaller. All of our buildings have gone smaller, lower key, lower scale, in respect for all of our neighbors. This is the existing facility. I don't know what the actual age of it is, but it's been there for a long time. It's actually, I believe it remains on septic today. So we'll be upgrading that and putting that onto the sanitary sewer system. Here's a plan view of the site plan. There's no vehicular access that comes out to the halfway house. It's just golf carts. We have golf carts that go back and forth, or little buggy vehicles where they take the trash and the food back and forth from the main kitchen. They do the actual cooking here, but they take the food back and forth from the main kitchen as needed, and then the trash and those types of things leave every day. We'll have a covered area, covered porch that's under the building, and then some outdoor covered porch area that you'll also have. This is a quick view of the architecture. The building is relatively small, measures about 14 feet in height. The style is being designed to be consistent with the clubhouse. So Florida style, very understated. Tequesta Country Club, as you know, is really very much an understated type of a club. But very, very nice. So the colors, the materials, the roof, standing metal seam with the brackets and the siding will fit in. And of course, this is actually tucked into the course and tucked into landscaping. So it has a very nice landscape setting in which it would sit. Moving to the maintenance facility. This is kind of a zoomed out picture on an aerial just so that you can see it. The gray box is basically the new building. It's about 10,000 square feet in size. It'll be literally tucked into the landscape. We'll actually be berming up against the building with walls, and it will be totally screened. So the building will be a very dark green, so it's intended to just fade away. Of course, I know Mr. Fazio, based on the meetings that we've had on multiple occasions, they really don't want to even see it. So it's in the middle of the course. We don't want you to see it, don't want you to hear it out there. This is just a little larger view. This is a more technical drawing. We have a couple spots for golf carts and buggies to be. We have some trash refuse and other utilities, generators, and that type of facility of mechanical equipment that will support this facility. So very nice. It's got open bay doors. I'll show you a picture of what that looks like. So this is what probably you would envision for a golf course maintenance facility. Dark green to fade in, bay doors, a few man doors, and we have a covered area for any specialized equipment. So this will predominantly house a lot of the mechanical, the mowers and the machines and verticutters and all the different things that support a golf course at the level of Tequesta Country Club. Moving out to what we would refer to the existing maintenance area that's being downsized. This area will now also accommodate where the pickleball courts will go. You may have recalled early on, at one point in time, we were looking at putting the pickleball courts on the north side and or the east side of Country Club Drive. Based on the feedback that we received from our neighbors, we listened to that. We decided to keep that actually on the west side of the street and locate them there. We just have 4 pickleball courts, which is the equivalent really of just over 1 tennis court. These are slightly larger than 1 tennis court, but that's what they are. Very nicely, lushly landscaped. You won't see anything from Tequesta Drive. In addition to that, we have employee parking for the predominantly for our maintenance folks, but it can also be used for any overflow parking during any peak demand. Since our maintenance folks are gone in the evening, That's when typically most of the events are. We would have the ability to, to park employees over in this area, but it's secured and gated. It's entered by RFID readers, so it's basically secured inside the maintenance area itself. All those gates are equipped with what we typically call Knox key switches and click to enter. Your fire department, your public safety folks require that to be all gates to within the village to have that type of technology. And just a few buildings, relatively small, significantly less than what's there today. We have a cart storage building. Those are really more for carts that go back and forth on the course, not the big mowers. Our chemical storage for our fertilizers and the things that we treat out on the golf course, as well as our fuel area. And then we have a few soil bins that we use for specialized soil, sand replacement for traps, and that type of thing. So very nicely done. Again, totally screened from Tequesta Drive. You won't see it literally at all when it's completed. So really excited about that facility. Again, it's dark green. It's intended to fade away into the landscape so that it's really relatively small. So this building is actually only 13 feet tall. So really the landscaping that we're proposing will screen it. The oak trees along Country Club Drive are probably 30 feet tall today. And so we're screening underneath the canopy with very large podocarpus that will be fully thick at the day that they go in. So it'll be very nicely done. So in summary, as noted within the staff report, this request first satisfies all the special exception criteria, is not injurious in any way to public health, safety, and welfare. It's an improvement. We're actually improving a number of what I would say areas today that don't meet your current code and bringing them up to code. We're able to create a level of sustainability. These are very old structures that if we did have a major storm event could very likely have some damage to them. So it also helps the club, be much more responsible in how they run the facilities, more energy efficient and more efficient in terms of how their employees will ultimately be able to maintain and operate the course to run the halfway house. So super excited about presenting this. We'll be much more excited to present before you in February when you see the beautiful club facility. But we're here, Mr. Forrester, as well as our other folks are more than happy to answer any questions that you have, and so am I. Thank you very much. Here's a couple of pictures.
Thank you.
Pretty pictures, just while you're here. The building's modified slightly from this, but I had a few in my picture. Oh, also schedule-wise, here's our schedule. I had a schedule in here for you. We're looking to be before you in February for the clubhouse approval. Construction of the halfway house and golf maintenance will start in January, and clubhouse will start construction in April. There you go. Now it's done.
Okay. Thank you. Jay, do you have anything to add?
Meg's just going to give a quick presentation.
Hello and good evening. Happy holidays. I don't know if we're going to have much to add to that wonderful presentation, so I will try and go through this quickly, but this is for the Tequesta Country Club. It is a special exception use and a site plan modification. The site plan modification is required for the new maintenance facilities, cafe, formerly known as the halfway house, pickleball courts, and cart storage. The special exception use, as mentioned, is required for any project in the recreation open space. So it is a permitted use, but it still requires the village council's review. This has been broken down into two phases. Phase 1 is what we are looking at today, and that is the cafe and the maintenance facilities. Phase 2 is in review and tentatively scheduled to come to village council in February. It is finishing up in the DRC right now. Here is the location, Tequesta Country Club, constructed in 1957. And here is the breakdown of the phases again. Phase 2 is going to be that top green circle, and then phase 1 that we are looking at tonight is the red and orange. Going from west to east, we have the cafe that is interior to the site. the proposed interior maintenance facility, and then the current maintenance facility along Country Club Drive. So landscaping, this is an AI rendition of what was provided by the applicant for the landscape buffer that is going to be running along the outside of their fence along Country Club Drive. So what they have here is some silver buttonwoods, a high podocarpus hedge, and then a lower red tip cocoa plum hedge. They did provide a diverse landscape plan. Here is some of the diversity that they have captured in it. Elements of site plan review that the council is going to be looking at is harmony with other buildings, harmony with the surroundings, facade, methods of design, inappropriate building styles, garage design, exterior forms, advertisements on amenities, the use of symbolic colors. In November of 25, Planning and Zoning Board voted unanimously to recommend this project to Village Council with the following conditions. Prior to the issuance of building permits, civil plans shall be provided that indicate the existing and proposed pervious areas. Drainage calculations shall be submitted and approved that demonstrate the project meets the village's stormwater treatment requirements. Next, prior to the issuance of building permits, a maintenance of traffic plan shall be submitted and approved by the village. And finally, prior to the issuance of building permits, a construction staging plan shall be submitted and approved by the village. And that is all that I have for you. If you have any questions.
Okay, thank you, Meg. All right, so agenda item 24, the special exception use. I'll open it for council discussion and just ensure that your comments for this are for the specific criteria that we're supposed to review for the SEU. And then any other comments that are more appropriate for the site plan modification. Next agenda item, we'll talk about that.
Okay. I don't really have any comments, to be honest.
No, I support the special exception.
I believe, because it's to do with phase 1, can I ask a question about the parking? Is that appropriate for this?
I think parking.
It's going to be more
25.
Second 25?
I think so. Okay. If parking's not one of the SEU.
Yeah, that's probably more.
Okay.
Address that during proposal.
I don't either. Any comment cards? Nope. Any public comment? All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, now moving on to agenda item 25, the site plan modification 07-25. I'll open that up for discussion.
Mayor, I should have combined the prior ex parte communication.
Oh, I thought you did.
With this one.
Sorry. Okay.
I'll ask again if you could just say same as the previous, if that applies, which I think it probably will.
Same as previous.
Same as item number 24.
Same as item 24.
Same as 24.
Same as 24.
Thanks, council.
Thank you.
All right.
For 25, I support the P&Z's recommendations as long as the applicant doesn't have any objections or further discussion on those.
No objection at all.
Thank you. That's all.
I have a few clarifying questions just for record purposes. And I might have missed it. When you guys build the cafe, do you have a timeline and how long that might take?
Let one of these young men come up and answer the question on the timeline. Jeff, you want to? Sam?
Hi, good evening. Sam Forrest. I'm a board member at Tequesta Country Club. Roughly 6 months. We started in February, sometime midsummer would be the expected finish date for the.
Thank you. I asked that because, again, residents tend to ask us a lot of questions and what's going on, how long is this going to take? So as long as we have transparency, we can be all on the same page and be able to help you guys communicate to residents when they have questions, because they don't know to call you. Sure. They call us. So, second one has to do with the Country Club Drive landscaping. Just to clarify, you are not removing any oak trees, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and the presentation that was put up by our staff member with the 2 different hedges and the trees, is that, it's on the outside of your fence, is that creeping into the right of way or is it still within your property line?
Great question, because right to today the condition is actually in the right of way. It's not on our property. So this actually will be on the club property itself within the required landscape buffer. The existing buffers don't meet code. Our buffers will meet code. And then we have a nice layered landscape look all the way around. So what you were looking at there was actually behind the giant oak trees.
Okay.
So you have the giant oak trees, then we have our podocarpus head, lower level of the cocoa plum, and behind that we have silver button as well as lots of other great stuff. Predominantly native, which is a trend that we've gone to at the club for the most part.
Thank you for the clarifications.
No further comments from me.
No comments.
Thank you so much, Don and team, for coming in. Have some questions on the parking for phase one. When I say parking, it's the craft and the trade. Where will those folks be parking for phase one?
So the craft and the trade, we've actually have a pretty good plan, pretty good long-term plan in terms of parking. But for phase one, there'll be a small area of where we'll be able to have parking on the east side or the northeast side of Country Club Drive, and then there'll be relatively limited parking on site. All logistics, all storage of materials, 100% of that will occur on site. None of that would occur within the parking lot. And then for phase two, or where we have additional parking needs, where we have a lot more trades, we've made arrangements to go off-site to the church right up here on Tequesta Drive, where we'll be running a shuttle service for those trades to minimize traffic as well as the impact on Country Club Drive, and to minimize any impact to our neighbors.
Yeah, thank you. I know this is about phase one. The P&Z for the site plan modification gave those 3 recommendations prior to the issuance of building permits. And I believe one was a maintenance of traffic plan, one was a construction staging plan. Have those been submitted yet, or?
They haven't been submitted, but I understand that we're moving pretty fast and should be submitting building permits and all that information to the village very, very soon. That day, but
my concern
to Mr. Elsner, next week.
Yeah. Okay. My concern is not with phase one, but, and again, I know we're discussing phase one tonight, but setting an expectation for phase two, which seems like it's coming pretty quick. When you have site demolition, you're going to be needing all of that northeast parking lot, we'll call it. I would imagine for trade parking, or for at least for member parking. Your cart barn's going to be gone, portions of that. I'm concerned and want to make sure that we have a very clear understanding of the usage of the north parking lot, the northeast, the one on the east side of the road, because there are some residents there that potentially could be impacted. I mean, people are going to be impacted on the north, the south, no matter what side of the road you're on. But my concern is that east parking lot becomes more than just parking for members and for staging of golf carts on a temporary basis. I know we have to displace, and I saw, where will we put admin? Where will we put the daily operations of the club? Where is that going to go?
We will be prepared to answer all your questions and provide literally a presentation just on logistics as a part of our site plan when we're before you in February. And we might reach out to you in advance and share that with you so that you're up to speed. So we're developing all of that now, and your concerns are noted, and we do have a plan for them. I know Black Diamond has been coordinating the construction, and they do things with excellence. I think Jeff taught them very, very well.
So phase one, again, just any type of trade parking. Phase one doesn't impact member parking on the west side of the road.
No.
It's just going to be trade parking, or craft parking, as I think the industry calls it, which will be done in that northeast parking lot, preferably on the south side of the parking lot.
And that is correct.
Okay.
That is the area that's specifically designated as the very south part of that parking lot, and a small portion of it.
What I would like to see for phase two, again, phase one, I want to move forward with it this evening. Phase two, instead of doing it prior to issuance of permit, I'd like to see it at site plan approval. all those staging requirements and the movement of traffic. So I want to make sure that we have a clear understanding of what's going to happen when demo occurs, and you have a limited site there now. And I just know it's just going to be tremendously tight. I just want to make sure that we know exactly what's going to happen for the benefit of the people that expect that to be a parking lot.
Yes, sir, we're on it.
All right, thank you very much.
Question on the P&Z recommendations. Don't we require 1 and 2 already? I'm very confused on these. Because I know when I work in other jurisdictions, you're submitting those things anyways.
So those are staff recommendations, and those were just things that kind of came up during the DRC. We wanted to just put them on the record so that there was an understanding that they would be needed during permitting.
They were staff recommendations?
All 3 of those recommendations are staff recommendations that the PZB voted to adopt.
So they're not already required?
They are, but a lot of times we just put things on the record just so that there's no ambiguity during permitting.
All right, well that seems odd that they're on here as recommendations when they're already required. I appreciate you putting them on record, but this is like very common stuff in every jurisdiction that has to be submitted, and I don't think we've seen these on record, like having to be on record as recommendations. Just for future,
I'm used to putting like 20 conditions of approval on projects, and they are too from the cities they work in, and a lot of times they're just standard comments that are just clarification, so there's no misunderstanding during permitting.
I was just making sure too, because like if these aren't already required, like they need to be put in the code immediately. So, yeah. Okay. You addressed, I did have questions about the screening. I wanted to make sure there's adequate screening on Country Club and the maintenance. I mean, looking at the plans, yes, you see you have the screen fence and the landscaping, and I think you have like retaining wall or something by the maintenance. The AI rendering was great. Are you putting in mature plants so it's gonna look like that out the gate? Because lots of times we get these beautiful renderings, but then what's planted is, of course, much smaller plants.
No, the buffering that's going in, it will be pretty much instant. We're putting in a large, full-grown podocarpus hedge. We're using a variety that's called Meta, that's like super dense that you can't see through. It'll go in 5 to 6 feet. Right now it's generally Australian pine and a mix of things, but it'll go in, and then beneath that there'll be the cocoa plum, and then behind that your code requires minimum size trees within the buffer, and of course you've got your 30-foot, 40-foot oak trees that are actually out in front of it. So everything is well screened and very, very well done. In fact, your landscape reviewer was asking us to open up the views because we had screened things so well.
Okay, that's great. And then what are the hours of the pickleball courts? Because I see that there's court lighting on there, and I just want to be careful with light pollution for the neighboring residents.
The pickleball courts, Laurie had color in here. The pickleball courts will operate at the same time as the regular course hours.
Okay, what are those?
It would be 8 to 5, right?
There is some nighttime, Today there are some nighttime activities out there. It's pretty rare, honestly, that you'll have people playing after dark, but that does happen from time to time in today's world. So we'll continue. I'd say roughly 8 to 8, but like I said, it is pretty rare when somebody is playing after dusk.
Okay, and then otherwise, the lights would go off immediately after those people are done playing.
It kind of depends on what the activities are going on. There are times when we have what's called a caddies club, so we do provide babysitting services for members when they're having dinner, and sometimes the kids will go out there and they'll use the courts. It's kind of a multi-purpose court. There's a basketball goal on it. So if the older kids in the caddies club want to go outside, they'll typically take them out to the multi-purpose court and entertain them out there, if you will. So there are times when the lights will stay on, till again roughly around 8 o'clock or so. But I think most nights when you drive by there, you won't see any lights on. That's the way it is today. It's the way it'll be in the future as well.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to ensure that because I didn't know if there was how late they would be on, if it was going to be every day, because that, like I said, that could just be a light pollution issue for those neighboring homes.
Yeah, I don't know if we have, honestly. They state a policy as to what time the lights will go off. I know that I've not seen them on. I live on Golf Club Circle, so I'm literally 100 yards away from the club. I've don't know that I've seen them on past, roughly 8. But again, I don't know if that's a stated policy, and I can certainly look into that and see what it is.
I mean, it's not, I'm gonna just trust what you're saying. I don't wanna hear it back at our desk from residents that's a problem. These bright lights are on all the time, because tennis is popular, but pickleball is even more popular, so yeah, I anticipate maybe they'll be used more. And I don't know, I know there's, I don't know if these are dark sky lights, but there's lights that are, purposely meant to make sure that it's not causing, are those what you're using?
Yeah, we will intend to utilize lights appropriate for the pickleball courts. What is there today, I will tell you, is not. In my opinion, probably applicable to what we're gonna do in the future. So we will use,
sport lighting with sharp cutoffs.
Yeah, short cutoffs. So it'll focus solely on the court as opposed to broadcasting, out wide or outside the courts, which is what we have today.
Okay, great. All right, and then I respect your concerns and what you asked them to bring back for phase 2, but I want to be careful with how nitty gritty we get into construction phasing and planning. It's very important, but I know that our building department, Wayne's done a great job with implementing a lot more oversight on construction sites, and I know we've approved large projects on much tighter sites and didn't require all this extra. So I just want to be sensitive to that and make sure we're not getting too nitty gritty into that on the future phase, because they gotta really rely on staff, and Wayne's been doing a great job on that. All right, those are my only comments.
Mayor, can I ask one more question? With the proposed pickleball courts, how far are they approximately from where they currently play tennis, and I think they play pickleball on the current courts? How close are they? Pretty darn close.
The new one, the new location versus the existing location? Yeah. I think probably a good estimate is to show they're moving south. Mm-hmm. So what is currently the south end of the courts will become the north end of the courts. So it's basically shifting one set of courts down.
And to the residential property to the south of that will still be shielded. The pickleball will be shielded by the sheds and the cart barns and the berms. Okay.
Correct.
Any other council comments or questions?
No, ma'am, thank you.
Nope. Any comment cards? No. Any public comment? Is there a motion to approve? And then if you want to accept P&Z's recommendations, that should be added.
Make a motion to approve the site plan SPM 725 along with the P&Z's recommendations that were listed previously.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. And ma'am.
Thank you very, very much. Merry Christmas, and just can't say enough about how helpful your staff has been, Meg and Jay, building department, building officials. It really is an amazing place to work, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Christmas. Thank you.
It's an envelope, not there.
Okay, agenda item 26, ordinance number 14-25, which is a first reading for filming operations.
Thank you, Mayor. I will go ahead and read this ordinance by title. Ordinance number 14-25, which is first reading for the ordinance of the Village Council of Village of Tequesta, Florida, amending Chapter 78 zoning, Article 9, supplemental regulations by creating an entirely new division to be entitled Division 8.5, Filming Operations, to adopt reasonable regulations common in many neighboring jurisdictions for commercial filmmaking, videotaping, and photography, providing definitions, providing exceptions, providing a permitting process, providing penalties for violations, providing that each and every other section shall remain the same, providing conflicts, cost, severability, authority, effective date, and for other purposes. So as we just heard in this title, this creates a new code section that creates a permitting process for those wishing to embark on commercial filming operations within the Village of Tequesta. This is kind of one of those things that you maybe don't know that you need until you suddenly need it. And so it's good to have on the books. These types of regulations are pretty common, or this particular ordinance that you're looking at is pretty representative of ordinances that are common in other municipalities throughout the county and the state of Florida. If you have any specific questions regarding this ordinance, happy to answer them.
Thank you.
No questions.
Council?
No.
None.
None.
I have a couple on the, it says that the article does not apply when it's on private property. What if there is, like home remodel shows are so popular. What if you have like one of those on a private property? I mean, I feel like that should at least maybe fall under this category because that's like a bigger production than someone just personally filming something or, I mean, what is your opinion on that?
So I'll say the intent of this really is for someone who wants to come in and utilize the village park or some kind of public property. They come in and say, hey, we're filming a movie or TV show and we really like this area, it's beautiful, we want to utilize it. This is in place so that we have that process. We know that they, for liability purposes, are covered. We're very limited in what we can do as far as like if someone wants to film on a private property, that they are well within their rights to do that. I will say that in the example you provided, I understand that there could be concerns about the results of an operation like that. They would still have to follow things like traffic requirements, parking requirements that are applicable to anyone within the village. So that might handle that type of situation. I don't think you could really pass an ordinance regulating private filming within a private property.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. And my other question, so this is opposite of the recovery residence where that was admin and it suggested like that should come to council versus this one is admin. Do we think that council should see, or no, I'm sorry, this is opposite, this is coming to council. To me, I feel like this one could be more of a staff. And I don't know if council really needs to see this one.
That's a good catch. I agree with you.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I think if we could just be notified, kind of as a courtesy, Lori talks about, we feel a lot of phone calls. It's like, wow, I heard they're filming something. As long as we were made aware of it, I don't think it's anything we need to approve, like you said.
I wouldn't think council needs to approve it, but definitely in the loop because again, we're usually the forefront.
Yeah, so Jeremy could put in his weekly, weekly report like he does with other things.
Admin approval with notification to council.
Yes.
I think that was it.
Yeah, good catch. Thank you.
Oh, nope, I have one more. It looks like it can be every day of the week. I was thinking maybe no Sundays or, kind of like what we do with construction. I don't know if we want those activities going on Sunday.
I'm hesitant on that one because it's not always this goes with my experience just being on shoots. They're not necessarily noisy, but sometimes locations are easier to shoot on a Sunday or a Saturday because of the visitations and the traffic, even residents' involvement to some degree, even seasonal, picking seasons where we aren't heavily populated if we still had a snowbird season. So I think for me, it would just go down to noise, like what are they doing? But usually it's not a lot of noise. It's not like construction. And then again, if they're clogging up roads with fans and stuff, I would assume they would need a permit for that anyways.
Yeah, I was thinking like if they're like taking up space in one of our parks on a Sunday when our families want to use it kind of deal.
I would assume they need a permit though to do that.
That's what this is.
Isn't that what this is?
Yeah, you have to apply for and obtain a permit. I believe you could impose reasonable conditions on the issuance of a permit. If you wanted to, hey, we're going to grant this permit, but no filming on a particular day due to noise issues, whatever. I think
that could be handled on a case by case then?
I think it could be handled as part of the permit. But if the recommendation is to...
It's part of the permit approval process.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that then. Okay. All right, any other council comments or questions?
No, ma'am.
Nope.
Any public comment? Nope. Okay, so the motion would need to include removing that the village council reviews it and it's done administratively.
I will move ordinance 1425 to include, to remove council approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
right, the last agenda item, 27, discuss and consider our 2026 community survey. Jeremy?
Thank you. Every couple of years, I say 2 years, we conduct a comprehensive survey. I had sent that, the previous one out to council, asked for some feedback, have provided a couple of changes to that survey. Based on the feedback that I received, the plan would be to put this out in January, run it for January. Council would receive the feedback, be able to use this, build initiatives for the strategic plan for future planning. This is typically citizens only. There's a question on there that's our residents only. There's a question on there that says, are you resident? If they say no, it doesn't allow them to fill out the survey. And so typically you're getting feedback from the residents. There's no real guards. I mean, if somebody says, yes, I'm a resident, and they're really not, I mean, we're just taking the honor of it. There's really no way. We've went through this a couple different times, and we've really come up with the best approach, which SurveyMonkey says if it says no, then it boots them out of the survey. So it's been pretty successful. I think the last time we did it, when we went through that process. And so with that, if you have any questions, comments, you guys should have the updated survey with these 4 comments. We removed the undergrounding feasibility. We know that our residents have scored that high. However, I think our last estimate like 4 years ago was $85 million or something, which we knew was not feasible. We have removed that from our strategic plan, mainly because of the cost, but also because, FP&L has taken on where they're doing another phase is coming. We hope that they will continue, and it's not, we didn't pick those areas, but we hope they'll continue throughout the village. We added phase 2 Remembrance Park. Obviously, when we did this 2 years ago, we hadn't done phase 1 of Remembrance Park. And we added redevelopment to Tequesta Park with the hope that we are going to be able to call that park our own. And obviously we have some plans being developed for a future phase. So love to be able to see what our citizens say about Tequesta Park phasing. And then added a question just to solicit some feedback and seeing if our initiatives are working for e-bike and golf cart safety. Obviously we know we're not done with that, but we're just seeing kind of a pulse check from our community to see if we're doing well with that. With that, if there's any questions, thoughts, other changes than what's been submitted to me, we can do that before we put it out.
Thank you. Council?
No
Any
questions.
comments or questions?
The only thought I really have is when we look at surveys, and I always take them with a grain of salt. Same thing in schools. Not every single parent at the school is going to fill out a survey. So our surveys do get responded to. It's not every single resident. It's also just one platform. So I just hope all of us take it into consideration, but not be the only source that we ever pull information from or feedback from. That's it.
Liam, what's the most responses we've had? Has it even broken 200?
Oh yeah, we're in like the 6-7% range, 6-7. Remember, Patrick, we were talking about that today.
Geez.
Sorry, let's just wake everybody back up.
I was waiting for it.
I told Patrick I would do that today, somewhere in the meeting.
There's 4-1 now. So.
But it's really roughly somewhere. We've had like 500-600 people in our response, so you're looking at somewhere in the ballpark 7-8%, which is statistically relevant from what I've gathered over the years. I think 5% is supposed to be at least before you can even count it. So to Miss Brandon's point, obviously council in the past have used it as a tool, but not the only tool, just to kind of reinforce what you guys have discussed and talked about, and hearing from your residents, you'll be able to reinforce it with some of the survey or not.
Okay. Any other? On question 11, I wanted to see what your thoughts are on removing it, because we've had it on there in the past, and this is the one. What services do you leave the village for most often that you wish were here? We've had this in the past, and I feel like it's a bit misleading because that's not a response that we can really act on. We're not a municipality that has an economic development plan. We're not actively recruiting businesses. And the only time we really have a say on type of business is if it's a special exception, right? Otherwise, if it's per, zoning code, we don't have a say. So I don't want to have a misleading question out there that we have the ability, like, oh, people want an appliance store, so let's go find an appliance store. So I don't know, I would like council to consider removing that one.
What if instead of removing it completely, because I love feedback all around, no matter what it is, we just reword it to be what services do you use most in the village? And then list the one, like, we have all of that.
That would be less misleading.
What, say it one more time? How would you?
So instead of saying what services do you leave the village for that you wish we had, ask them what services do you use the most in the village?
Okay.
And then we can kind of just,
I mean, the only reason I could see it being beneficial, and I don't know if potential developers ever look at this, and every once in a while it'll get referenced, by someone doing a presentation, but it could be used for them, when they're considering tenants. But outside of that, I agree. I think it should be. I don't know if we should get rid of it altogether, because I agree with Lori that it is kind of nice to know, but maybe word it in a way that it's like, while we can't, while we don't really have the authority to do any of this, something along those lines.
or is it possible to take out all the actual word options and just leave it as something they have to type in? Like, what services do you use weekly in the village? Food, groceries, food, retail, they have to type that out.
Or just, get rid of the part.
I think back to when we were asked, we don't do it really ever, we were asked to write a support letter to a shopping center owner that the residents would pretty much support another type of grocery/food place. So it has come up.
Specialty grocery.
But I understand what you're saying. That
I think I agree. It's like, how can we reword it so it's just not, because I just think it's a bit misleading. Like, well, we want this, so why don't council please bring this, to our community? Well, we really don't. Our city's not set up with a economic development.
So I don't want to take it off and then come back, because I want the survey to be done. Now I'm thinking more general. What services or businesses do we not have that you would like to see?
That's what it said. But
without the options. Just
what if it was just, what services do you leave the village for most often?
Yeah, and so saying that.
Because then
we have all those technically.
Yeah, without saying that you wish.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I like the data point also. I'd be interested.
Right.
But
I like that. Take away. Just make it. Just that a statement, right? Don't say that you wish we had here, because I think, like I said, that's the misleading part.
Yeah.
Can't really do anything about
I wish
that.
we could. That'd be great.
Yeah. So let's do that. So just which services do you leave the village most for? Period.
With no options.
No, have the options, leave it, but just get rid of that you wish the village.
I think it's like it's been said this evening. I think having that knowledge is great. I received an email today from somebody that owns a building that wants to sit down and talk to say, what do you want? What do you want to see there? So it'd be nice to know that, hey, the last 5 surveys, we've had residents that we'd leave for this type of industry. So I think having that information available to us is.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, I think Patrick's solution is good, because it was a bit misleading. Okay. So I think that fixes that part of it. Yeah, I don't have like hopes out there with our residents, like, oh, they're gonna.
Yeah.
They can, bring this kind of service here. So if someone reaches out to us and wants to work with us, great, but we're not actively attracting businesses, different types of businesses or specific types of businesses to come here. So perfect. I think that fixes that. All right, any other council comments or questions? No. Nope. Any public comment?
Yes, Marcia Nielsen.
My issue was the same as Jeremy's, is that, people lie and they say they're part of the village and they're not. But if you can't do anything about it, then, you just have to take it as it comes. I don't like people who don't pay taxes telling me what to do. The other thing I have a problem with surveys, just generally speaking, is it's kind of the pie in the sky. So I want everything, check, 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 check. There's never a price that's associated. So if you put second phase of Remembrance Park, 1.5 million. You might get a little.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, is there a motion, and then it should include the amendment to question 11?
Yeah, I will make a motion to approve the survey with the exception of item 11 to be revised to read, what services do you leave the village for most often? ? And strike the balance of that question.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, any other matters tonight?
I'd like to hear your comments on the Jupiter Narrows that you spoke about.
Yeah, so I don't really have comments. We received the email from Butch and he spoke tonight. I don't know if it was the last time that Jupiter Narrows presented to us, but I did have a question on their design and if the no wake zone, there's going to be reduced wave energy that could change the design. So I guess to even start discussions, I would like to know where they're at with their design and the permit process, because they had a novel of questions from DEP the first time. Usually Army Corps is involved too, so I think maybe for us to see if we want to discuss it more, it'd be really great to just get an update on where they're at on approvals and if the design's changed due to the no wake zone. That would be my suggestion, and then we can decide if we want to talk about it after that.
So my issue is just the lack of clarification for me facts. The email does send us a photo and say this is not what their design's going to look like, but that's what they have as the design. So I need on my own or staff or whoever's helping us, I just need to figure out what's happening.
Maybe a picture of what they are designing.
Well, I got two different stories now, so I gotta go figure out what's actually happening.
Yeah, if they determine the no wake zone has now fixed that problem and you could have the smaller rocks or whatever it is, like the lighthouse, I'd be for that also. We all use that area. I'm a boater that goes through there. We all go pretty slow. You get the person that maybe is not from here or hasn't been out in a while and they go fast, but it's pretty rare. And it's such a populated area, you really can't go fast, or you shouldn't anyway, even if you could, right? And so I'd be in favor of at least supporting a change in the plan. We're not the ultimate authority, but if the wake zone did work, supporting that change in plan.
Yeah, I would think, they're a nonprofit, right? So if the reduced wave energy would, provide some value engineering to the design, you would think that they wouldn't want to spend the money if they didn't have to.
Yeah.
So is that consensus, have staff just get a kind of an update on the status of the design and where they're at with their DP and Army Corps permits, and we can go from there?
Absolutely.
I just emailed you guys.
Also just found a typo.
All right.
I found a typo in that survey.
Any other matters?
No, me.
No? All right, with that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
In that
Might choose this.
item 11, instead of massage,